Hello, we are live and ready to finish up, hopefully, this case, Turnabout Ablaze, and finishing up the investigations part 1. Then we can go right into investigations 2, probably next week. But here we go. March 15th, 12:07 a.m., Theatrum Neutralis lobby. So, now we know who the Adagarasu really was. And yet, there remains much to this case that needs to be resolved. Like how many weapons crossed country lines, for example. Cross-country lines! The two countries have incredibly strict security systems and entry procedures. Short of a miracle, it's impossible for someone to have smuggled them in. Smuggling them in, huh? We will need to open a new line of investigation on just this aspect alone. But before we do, I would like to go through my evidence once more. Unnecessary evidence has been removed. Remaining evidence has been rearranged.
Hey, there's a VCR here, sir. Now we can see what's on that tape Detective Bad gave us.
This piece of evidence from the KG-8 incident, hidden from sight for 10 long years. I just know that this is related to the current case somehow. Detective Gumshoe, if you could please play the tape for us.
Sure thing, sir.
Hey, it's Manny Cochin with a knife.
This man, it's Manny Cochin.
And he's holding a knife in his hand. And before Gumshoe tapes over it, oh no. Yeah, this looks like a footage from a security camera at the entrance of an apartment building. An apartment building? How do you figure that? Unlike you, I actually read the summary file on the KG-8 incident. And the crime scene was the victim's own apartment. So this footage was shot at the entrance to the victim's own apartment building. At the trial, Mr. Faraday claimed that this piece of footage existed. However, no one could find it. Yes, somehow someone was able to steal it and hide it through Mr. Ernest Amano. I can see how this would have been a definitive piece, and why someone would want to hide it.
But it's a piece of evidence from a 10-year-old case. There's no way it's related to this case we're working on now, sir.
Actually, I believe it has everything to do with the case we're working on now. The ringleader even went so far as to use Mr. Portsman to retrieve it. Which means that in this video lies a very inconvenient bit of footage to the ringleader.
Where? Where?
I thought he was gonna erase it. No, wait, what was that? Huh? That bit you played just now. Please show it to me again. This car. This is something we cannot overlook. Ah, there's somebody else in the car. Yeah, I see him. And there's nobody in the driver's seat. And it's... Is that, Cadopia? The symbol on the car? Hard to say.
Why's that, sir?
Look here, Detective Gumshoe. Is it the fact that there's a man in the car? Don't you find this section to be particularly of interest? Oh, I guess I was wrong.
I don't see anything at all. Are you talking about that thing, sir? I've heard that you can capture ghosts on film. Is that what it is, sir? So, where is it in this picture, sir?
That's quite enough. How could he have mistaken this for an apparition? Fatal Frame starring Miles Edgeworth. I'd be there for it. Alright, let's see. Look here, Detective Gumshoe. So hang on a second. There's a flag. The flag stands out as well. There's obviously someone there. There's him. And then there's the flag, right? I'm trying to think, like, what, let's see. Is it the flag? This is... Okay. This is the national flag of the Principality of Cadopia. And because it has the national flag on it, we know this to be an official government car. But the question we should be asking ourselves is, what was a government car doing there?
Ah, Miss Von Karma and Mr. Edgeworth. So you were here all this time.
Ambassador Alba, thank you very much for continuing the investigation at this time of night.
If only I was even a tiny bit more careful. This tragedy would never have happened. I am truly sorry.
This wasn't your fault, sir. This had nothing to do with how careful you were.
You idiot, Quirkus! You couldn't chase after a simple thief! Now then, let's get down to the real reason why I came looking for the two of you. I would like you to put the investigation on hold for a while. Can you do that? Excuse me? I heard you've apprehended the thief that turned this embassy upside down. And we are in the middle of an event celebrating our country's reconciliation. We can't exactly have the police and detectives working around here forever. You're scaring the visitors away. So I hope that you can understand how I feel.
But we must finish our investigation and resolve the remaining issues.
Why don't we leave the rest of the Alabastian and Ablaze police?
Ambassador, we're so close! Just a little more and...
Miss Von Karma, I'm afraid I've made up my mind. And without my permission, you can't proceed with your investigation anyway, right?
That's true. However, as he said at the very beginning, this area can be considered to be Alabastian soil, in which case we are nothing but foreigners in their land. Is this really where our investigation ends?
Oh. Chifu, we found Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Chifu, this way. Yo!
Yeah, Lang's here. Or Long is here. Agent Long, you're back on the scene rather quickly.
If I laid back and took a break, I'd lose the scent of my prey, Mr. Prosecutor. Agent Long, why have you returned? Because I have to solve this case, no matter what. Well, I'm sorry to inform you. And don't take this the wrong way. I don't suspect you personally. However, a member of Interpol was just found to be a thief. And so, under these circumstances, I wish to put your investigation on hold. After all, I believe our own police can handle things from here. They are quite capable.
At this rate, our investigation really will come to a close.
Ambassador Alba, I get it now. I really do. Oh? I'm very glad you understand how I feel. No, not that. What I was talking about is... I know who the killer is behind tonight's murder. You know the killer? Do you really mean that, Agent Long? Wolves don't lie. Then who is it? Well, let me first say that I'm not talking about Mr. Cochin's murder. That was all Sheena.
Huh?
Long Z says the truth lies not at the exit, but rather shines outside the maze itself. The truth is unexpectedly simple. So let me ask you this. Who do you think was Damask 2's killer? I'll tell you who. It was you, Franziska Von Karma! Whoa!
I was the killer? Hey, wait, but that's impossible!
Yeah! Although that whip is actually quite... Yow!
Hold your tongue in that ludicrous remark you were about to make. Agent Long, are you seriously accusing her of murder?
Yeah, I am.
He doesn't appear to be joking.
Hey, sis. I remember that just before Ambassador Alba went to give his speech, he called you into his office, right?
Yes, he did. But what does that have to do with anything?
I'm getting to that. Furthermore, in order to solve both cases, you moved around rather freely between Alabast and Babal, did you not?
And where is your evidence that I am the killer?
We were just getting to that. Trust me, I'll show them to you in due time. Ambassador Alba, in order for me to bring this case to a close, I'll need to inspect your office one more time. Will you grant me permission?
With things as they are, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I?
Good, then let's move out. Oh, and don't even think about running away, sis. My pack will be keeping a close eye on you. You can bet your bottom dollar on that.
As if I would have any reason to flee. But just so we're clear, your logic had better be sound. Because I'll accept nothing short of a perfect explanation. She seems rather upset, not that I blame her.
I expect that you'd accept it, no less. But we'll see how long you can keep that nose of yours stuck up in the air like that.
Agent Long, as someone related to tonight's case, I request that you allow me to take part. And so that I may clean up my superior's mess. Oh, he's getting a dig in there.
I guess I should. The more the merrier, especially when it's the peanut gallery.
Oh, in that case, I'm gonna join in too. I still haven't seen what it looks like in Alabast yet.
If you let Kay in, then you gotta let me in too, pal. I can't sit around and do nothing when Miss Von Kama's in trouble.
Hey, Gummy, let's have a competition to see who can save her first, okay?
Okay, I'll take you up on that. Oh yeah, I'm fired up and raring to go.
As a detective, I don't believe this is something you're supposed to be excited over.
It sounds like this is gonna get real interesting. Ambassador Alba, I'll be bringing these kids along for the ride.
Very well. But I'd like you to keep in mind that this will be your last chance.
I'll have this whole mess cleaned up before you know it. Now, let's go.
She would only kill someone's self-esteem, not the person themselves. That's right. She'd only whip out their sense of self. She wouldn't actually kill anybody. All right, March 15th, 12:53 a.m., Alabastian Embassy Ambassador's Office. It's 1 in the morning now. Oh, man.
Okay, now, let's first go over the facts one more time. Manny Cochin's body was found over in the Secretariat's office in Babal. The weapon that took his life was one of Alabast's ornamental knives. And then the body of Damath II, Mr. Kashi No, was found here in the Alabastian Ambassador's office. Through our investigation, we found that the murder weapon was the Primadou statue, and that this is actually Babal's statue. This case, no matter how I look at it, sis, if it wasn't you, then there's no one else who could have pulled this off.
Agent Long, do you understand the full implications of what you are saying?
Of course I do, sis. And I'm serious. You were on the trail of the smuggling ring, and you wanted any evidence you could find.
Oh no. He's like going for a heavy rain twist.
And so, while people were distracted by the Yatagarasu's appearance, you snuck in here. That's when you two ran into each other. You and that other thief who took advantage of the confusion from the fire.
Even if all that were true, how do you explain the movement of the weapons?
Don't worry, I plan to show that you're the culprit behind that, too. You had permission to investigate both embassies at will. With that kind of free reign, you could have easily taken the weapons across country lines. Hey now!
Oh, he actually grabbed the whip.
Look, sis, I thought I already told you. I'm not messing around here. This case isn't directly tied to the smuggling ring, but Sheena certainly is tied to the smuggling ring.
He is right in saying that she is a member of the smuggling ring. However, the connection between this case and the ring, could it not be deeper than what any of us can imagine?
Let's get this ridiculous circus over with already.
Francisca, you need to calm down, because you only know the facts of the Alabastian side of the case. I don't believe you can see the case as a whole, and therefore solve it.
What?
But don't worry, I am taking this seriously as well, and I will prove your innocence.
That's the only way to be, Mr. Prosecutor. But can you come up with anything else that can top my hypothesis? Of course, your explanation is to solve the mystery of the moving weapons as well.
Of course, and I will. Let us now delve into the truth behind the murder of Damask 2. You do understand, don't you, Miles Edgeworth? This isn't just a confrontation against Agent Long. You can't figure out how the murder of Damask 2 is related to the smuggling ring. Then it will mean the end of our investigation. As long as I have no good counter-argument to his hypothesis, then the best I can do is walk this thin tightrope and see what I can do.
Come on, Mr. Prosecutor, let's get started.
Yes, let's. Border crossing weapons.
One of Alabast's knives was used in Babal to murder Mr. Cochin. In the murder weapon and then killing of Damask 2 is Babal's Primitive statue. Somehow, these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. The only one who traversed the two countries just before and after the crimes was you.
So as long as I can't explain how the weapons moved about, Francisco will remain a suspect?
You got it, Mr. Prosecutor. So why don't you stop giving me a hard time? Under these circumstances, who the heck can carry a weapon across country lines? I've worked through every possibility, but there's only one that's plausible. Your boss.
Agent Long, what I've learned from you just now is that you've lost sight of yourself.
What are you talking about?
By focusing too intently on that which is in front of us, we become blind to the truth. Don't tell me Long Z never said anything to that effect.
You prosecutor! Who do you think you are, speaking about Long Z's proverbs like that?
I don't need his proverbs, because my words are all you will need to see the truth.
Oh!
He got him. He roasted him. Ooh. Border crossing weapons. Alright. One of Alabast's knives was used in Babal. This is true. Let's see. I concur that this knife crossed over country lines.
Good, but that's not the only thing that did. We mustn't forget about the other weapon. The knife was only one.
And the murder weapon in the killing of Damask 2 is Babal's Primitive statue. Right. So you're saying that the Primitive statue was also brought over by Francisca?
Like I told you before, that's the only way it makes sense.
And how exactly did she bring it over?
I haven't figured that out yet.
That's a rather weak statement, considering how sure you are.
Maybe, but there is one thing I do know for sure.
Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. Miles Edgeworth says the autopsy report can always be updated. That's right. Yes. Yes. Miles Edgeworth, ace autopsy updater. Impenetrable? I should hardly think so.
You've seen the top of the wall between the two countries, right? Who in the world would cross over that?
Yeah, not even I could climb over that thing with all that barbed wire.
The only way into either embassy is through the doors in the Theatrum Neutralis. So the only way for the knife and the Primitive statue to traverse the two countries is through those security camera-equipped, well-guarded doors.
The only one who traversed the two countries just before and after the crimes was you. That's just before and after the crimes? Is that true, though? Something tells me that's not true. Let's press. Was Francisco really the only person to have traveled between the two countries? Yes, there we go.
According to the guards at both doors, she is the only one to go back and forth. The sis there was in Alabast when the Autogarasu showed. And then just before you guys found Mr. Cochin's body, she entered Babal. I think we can assume that's when she brought the knife into Babal.
Then how do you explain the Primitive statue?
I haven't quite figured that out yet. However, the fact that the two weapons crossed the border proves that the killer must also have traveled across the country lines.
The only things to cross the border are the Primitive statue and the knife. I should hardly think those two are the only two items, Agent Long. Alright. Let's see. So, we got these two objects. The only one who traversed the two countries. Hang on a second. Penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. Well, okay. This statement, he's saying these two objects, right? The thing is, there were three. Because they had to swap, whoever did this had to swap the Primadou statues. They didn't just take one. So that requires quite a bit more effort. I haven't actually stopped to see what evidence we got rid of, but it looks like we got, let's see, they got the embassy guide, Cochin's body, the Atagrasu key, the knife, the Primadou statue, the Cadopian paper, counterfeit bills, right? Passion flowers. For some reason, that's still there. That hasn't come up yet. It's interesting, too, that Damask was set to steal that. And we also have the Yatagarasu, which I am starting to suspect is the Iron Infant doll being launched in a cloth or something, but it's hard to say. The fountain... Samurai dogs, okay. Alright. The hair sticks... There's some dirt on the hair sticks. Interesting. I'm gonna say it's the fact... Used to be real, but has been swapped with a fake from Babal. Swapped. Was fake, but was swapped with the real one. Is originally from Alabast. So that, I think, is our deal. We got the real Primadou statue, and we have the fake one. And they had to be swapped. It wasn't just one brought over. I think that is a contradiction, because he's trying to say that those two objects were brought over, but yet they were swapped. I think the samurai dogs can be used as evidence that God has abandoned us. Larry, well, you can't spell dog without God. Samurai gods, hey. That sounds like a Koei game right there. Let's present Alabast's Primadou statue, and let's see what happens. I think that's it. Agent Long, those two items are not the only two to cross the border tonight. Good, okay, it's following the line of reasoning. Oh, Damask 2 was killed with Babal's Primadou statue, yes. But if that's the case, then tell me, where did Alabast's Primadou statue go?
To Babal? Oh.
Precisely, and if the two statues really were switched, then this means that both statues were smuggled across the border at some point. Which means that a total of 3 items were smuggled across the embassies. Ooh, I got it.
I guess so, but you know what? It doesn't matter the number of items, only that the sis is the one who could have done it. Because the only person who went back and forth between Alabast and Babal is her.
Is that really true? Was there no one else who traveled between the two countries? Actually, there was definitely another person. One who paid a visit to both sides of the wall. Yatagarasu. Is that really so, Agent Long?
What a lousy time to try and bluff your way out of this. I checked out what the guards said along with the security camera's footage. You're not gonna overturn my hypothesis that easily.
But suppose there was some other way other than through the theater doors.
What other way?
The other entity that managed to cross the border unharmed. If I pointed out, it would open up a whole new possibility. And though I hesitate to bring this out, as long as this entity exists, the impossible road becomes a possibility.
Looks like you've got some clever idea in mind.
I do, and I can show it to you through a single piece of evidence.
Find that! Let's see this piece of evidence that will show me this other route.
This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between the two countries. It's, is it what I was looking at earlier, the Yatagarasu? that was apparently moving between? Because it was between the fires, right? It was, yeah. So somebody or something moved across. I think this is it. Agent Long, I'm sure you're familiar with this unforgettable photo.
Yeah, that supernatural photo? Like I said before, humans can't fly.
No, of course not. I understand that perfectly well.
And don't start claiming that Sheena somehow grew wings either.
Ah, if that was the case, she'd be a Nina, and she'd be a Breath of Fire character. Wouldn't it be great if we got another Breath of Fire game someday? Anyway, I wouldn't dream of claiming that.
And I won't allow you to take back what you've said either. I'll say it again. It's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. So you'd better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor. Ugh.
But how can I prove who it was that flew through the air in this photo? Wait, not humanly possible.
Eureka!
Very well. You will have your explanation.
Sounds like you have a good idea simmering inside that head of yours. Let's hear it. The face hidden within this photo's blurry, trailed shadow is...
Wait. Let's see. Well, wishing for a new Breath of Fire game is like the kind of wish that would be granted by a monkey's paw. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, I don't have a picture of the Iron Infant, so I'm thinking my Iron Infant theory is actually wrong. So let me look at this thing again. Hang on. I'm looking at it sideways, and I'm looking at it from a few different directions. So it looks less like one of those what was that? The monsters from the 2017 Prey. the mimics kind of looks like. It's not that. Is it hang on a second. It's not the Primadou statue wrapped in a cloth, is it? Because like looking at it from the side, like that there kind of looks like the top of the Primadou statue's head. Like, did somebody send the Primadou statue over on a wire? Let's see.
Take that.
Yeah. Naturally, the shadow is the third smuggled object, the Primadou statue replica.
You can't be serious!
The Yatagarasu, or rather Callisto Yu, dressed as Agent Sheena, was inside Babal. She dressed the replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air.
Mr. Prosecutor! You left out a very crucial bit in your explanation.
I know I did.
She launched it through the air? Ha! And how exactly did she do that?
He is literally baring his fangs at me. But he has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Which reminds me, didn't he say this earlier?
Hey sis, I remember that just before Ambassador Alba went to give his speech, he called you into his office, right?
So just before the murder, Francisca was called here, right into this very room. If that's the case, then that may be another avenue I can pursue. Agent Long, in order for me to answer that question, I will need to hear testimony from Miss Von Karma.
Oh, what are you up to now, pretty boy?
Pretty boy. Okay. Earlier, you mentioned something of interest to me. You said that just before the murder occurred, Miss Von Karma had been in this room because Ambassador Alba had called for her. And for that reason alone, you believe her to be the killer.
Yeah, I guess I did say something like that.
In that case, I believe it is my duty to ask her what her side of the story is.
Ha! Do you really think a criminal would tell us the honest truth? How dare you!
As I've said numerous times, there is absolutely no proof that I am the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too. I don't. However, I can't ignore the fact that you were in this room at one point in time, which is why I would like to hear about it from you.
Duh.
Francisco, I feel that I still don't have enough information, which is why your testimony is incredibly important to the outcome of this case. All right. So, what would you like me to talk about? I think it was launched using crossbows in the background and video game physics. Yeah. So, they used like the Half-Life 2 crossbow that just shoots in a straight line perfectly. Yes. Does that tree? Yes, they actually commented earlier that the tree looks exactly like the Ambassador Alba. It is in fact a tree, but I think it might also be the Ambassador's like phylactery or something. I'd like you to please testify to your movements up until you came into this room.
All right, let's try this your way for a change. But what if she has to say what she has to say turns out to be a waste of time? I'll place her under arrest faster than you can howl. No!
As you wish. Movements in Alabast. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian embassy. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office. Okay? Francisco, I want us to make clear from the very beginning. So, what I wish to confirm is that the only time span in which you were in this office was before the murder occurred. Is that correct? Yes, of course. I see. For now, the only way that I can see for us to break out of the situation is to ask Francisca about her testimony in more detail. So we need to press. That's what I'm hearing. Movements in Alabast. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty. I thought your duty was to fact-find anything you could about the smuggling ring. Yes, that was my job. But upon hearing that the other Garasu had sent a calling card to the embassy, Ambassador Alba called upon us to protect the embassy instead. That incident 7 years ago. Have you forgotten what happened here back then? Anything related to the case we were involved in appears to be rather painful for her. It's not exactly one I can readily forget myself. It looks like you remember the case after all. Of course I do. I inspected every location, every possible escape route, and every aspect of the police's security detail. I did all that. Then after that, after I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way... Yeah, let's talk about the Steel Samurai. So you were at the theater as well? Yes, and I suppose you were also there as well, watching that stage show? Well, yes. So Francisco was there. Well, after the show was over and I saw the Steel Samurai off, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit. Okay. Why did you need to confirm the degree of preparation for even the speech? For security's sake, of course. What other reason could I have had? No one knew just how the Adagarasu had planned on getting in, right? Yes, I suppose you're right. And in the end, the Adagarasu did choose to appear in the Rose Garden, even if it did turn out to be nothing more than a shadow. Who would have thought that she would use a shadow?
Oh, calm down, Francisca.
She must still be nursing a grudge over the fact that she couldn't figure it out herself. Anyway, there was no one in the Rose Garden, and we were aware that the speech was set to start soon thereafter. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office. Okay. At that time, Damask II's body had yet to be found in this room. Was that correct? That's right. But Ambassador Alba was here. One could hardly miss his rather large presence.
A criminal will say anything to get out of getting arrested. How do we know you're not lying?
Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you.
Seriously?
Like I keep telling you, when I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing by the flower box on the windowsill, watering his plants.
I can attest to that. I remember speaking with the lovely lady around that time here in my office. All right then, add that statement to your testimony and let's hear some details.
So Ambassador Alba was in the room at the time, was he? When I arrived, Ambassador Alba was watering the flowers on the windowsill. Hang on a second. I've wondered why these flowers are here. 2 large flowers in bloom. The vines are supported by stakes and are still growing. Okay. And what's the stuff in the... I don't know. Let's press this one and then we'll come back to it. For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that Ambassador Alba was watering his plants at the windowsill? What do you mean by that? The entrance to this room is on this side. However, the window is on the opposite side. If what you say is true, then when you entered the room, his body would have been like a wall. He would have been blocking your view of what he was doing. Isn't that not correct? Isn't that not correct? Wait. What? Isn't that not correct? Isn't that... Okay, I'm sorry. That gave me a little brain explosion for a second there. Okay. I suppose it was a bit hard to see around him. But fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba is not an immovable wall. I knocked before I entered, and as I did, he turned around to greet me, with a watering can in his hand. So it's only natural to believe that he was watering his plants, right? I suppose. After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. He had obtained them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know.
Yes, the plants in this room, they're all like my children.
The passion flowers in the flower box on the windowsill are growing beautifully too. All 4 of them are in full bloom. What? There's only 2. Miss Funcom, what did you say just now? I said that the flowers are growing beautifully. What about that statement do you not understand? What I do not understand? I do not understand why a certain thing is the way it is. I'd like for you to append that statement to your testimony. Very well. There were 4 large passion... There are 4 passion flowers! Let's see... No. There's not. Wait. Oh, those hair sticks that, Sheena, or Callista, gave to, Kay were 2 things. They look like what's holding up the flowers. Interesting. Francisca, for some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence. It does appear that way.
I knew it! I knew we couldn't trust your word, sis!
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing discrediting this one karma like this?
Yes, sir! If you keep this up, she's gonna get taken away, sir! Eat!
All I've done is state what I saw. I have not made a single mistake in my testimony. As this, I'm still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really all that important at this juncture, Miles? At the very least, it is a contradiction in this enigmatic case. One that I find hard to dismiss as irrelevant.
Ha! Then let's hear it, Mr. Prosecutor. What does this number of flowers have to do with anything? What does it prove?
I believe the answer to that will become clear if we were to examine the flower box. How did this contradiction come about? There must be something behind this discrepancy.
They're my beloved flowers. I've grown them with the utmost care. I ask that you please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgeworth.
I understand. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking flower. All right. And watering can. This watering can has a rather robust design. Mr. Edgeworth, why are you telling us stuff we can clearly see for ourselves? Plus, if you keep wasting time talking about that, Miss Von Karma's gonna get arrested. Ugh, I better examine something else. I like it. He's just commentating for us. Here's the holes. Let's look at those. This patch of soil looks as though it has had something removed from it.
What are you doing, Mr. Prosecutor? Why'd you clam up all of a sudden? I'm still here waiting for an explanation, you know.
I think it's a step watering can. Yes, it is. Did you know, Agent Long, flowers are best appreciated in silence? It looks like two things were pulled out of this flower box. The name of these flowers, I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they're actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well and are well supported by these plant supports.
Yeah, but no matter how I look at it, it looks like there are only two here to me. You realize, don't you, sis? Your little lie has failed you. Yeah, Miles Edgeworth, hurry up and shut this man up for me already.
I suppose I will need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I? Do we have evidence? I mean, we have the sticks, right? Let's see. I believe I have just the piece of evidence you require.
Oh, you do you? You have such confidence in the face of your current plight. But I highly doubt it'll last until the end.
You howl like a wolf, Agent Long. But we'll see if you have any bite to back up that bark after you see the evidence. The truth that passion flowers reveal can be seen in this piece of evidence. It's the hair sticks. Sheena, who was supposedly in Babal the entire time, had these hair sticks on her that look exactly like the plant supports in this flower box. In other words, I believe it can be said that these hair sticks are in actuality support sticks for the passion flowers.
And so what? Is this really all that important to the case?
Of course it is. It means that we found yet another item that was smuggled between the countries tonight.
Hey!
He's flustered. Think about it logically, Agent Long. These sticks were originally in Alabast, but somehow they wound up in Sheena's hands, who was in Babal the whole night. So make no mistake, these sticks were smuggled somehow, just like the knife and statue.
Yeah! Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they wound up in Babal.
How did these support sticks find their way to Babal and why? There must be some reason as to why they ended up there. So that's why. Agent Long, if you would please take a look at this and tell me its shape.
Just another stick, isn't it?
And so it is, but the shape of the support sticks is what is important. But when they are used with something in this room, that's when it all comes into focus. Their crossbow... Oh my gosh, you were right. The crossbow actually was used. They're crossbow bolts. The object that completes the picture when used with the support sticks is... the crossbow. It's gotta be the crossbow.
That's a crossbow. Wait, you're not really suggesting...
I am. These hair sticks, or rather plant support sticks, they make for perfect arrows.
Yeah!
I've done it. I've found the common thread that connects the two offices. But this thread is yet to be completely untangled. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues were transported? Furthermore, who could it have been who fired these sticks as arrows? There must be a common thread that ties all of these things together.
Mr. Prosecutor, hold up a sec. You do realize what happens when you tie a statue to an arrow, right? They don't fly at all.
Hey, are you Agent Long? You're coming up with the same arguments. There we go. Objection. Yes. Border crossing part 2.
So the bull statue was draped in the Yatagarasu's clothes and then shot over here. Even if you fired the arrows from this side, they wouldn't go far with a statue tied to them. I don't think I need to tell you that the primitive statues don't sprout wings. You're a realist after all, aren't you?
The primitive statues didn't sprout wings. Of course they didn't.
Glad you understand. I feel much better already. I was afraid for a second that you were unaware of that crucial fact.
It's only crucial because you're under the belief that wings are necessary to this equation.
What?
You need to free your mind a bit more and let it fly like a bird on the wind. The primitive statues flew, but not on a wing. Allow me a bit of your time, and I'll explain this mysterious phenomenon to you. It's the metal, wire that we found in the clock. Border Crossing Part 2. Okay, it's the metal wire. The Babal statue was draped in the... Okay. Even if you find... Is there a statement they wouldn't go far with a statue tied to them? I don't think I need to tell you that the primitive statues didn't sprout wings. I think we might have to press him a bit to get him to say it. Because I want him to say something definitive regarding the metal wire. A good length of wire that was found wound up inside Babal's grandfather clock. That Sheena hid. Okay, anyway. But that incredible scene just happened to have been caught on film, resulting in this photo.
Ha! And what an incredible scene it was! This photo was taken by a freelance photojournalist, right?
Yes, so I hear.
And not every photojournalist is known to be honest, right? Especially not the ones that sell photos of spirits and giant creatures to tabloids.
Yes, I know what you mean. I've seen those sorts of photos many a time in court. Yes. Yes, you have. You certainly have. Also, Lotta Hart is the most honest person. For real. Yeah. But there have been times when those photos have turned out to be telling the truth. If you had ever stood in a court of law, you would know that it's entirely plausible.
You really believe the stuff you're spewing right now? A courtroom certainly is a strange place if what you say is true. But there really is something odd about that photo, no matter how you look at it.
Agent Long is not wrong. The courtroom is a strange place. That's shopped, I can tell from some of the pixels and from having seen a lot of shops in my day. That's right. An expert at shops. I've seen every shop there can possibly be. That's right. We need to fire the arrows on this side. But we are in agreement that an arrow by itself would reach the other side, correct?
But just the arrow by itself is pretty meaningless, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Because the things they wanted to smuggle were a lot bigger than nothing.
No, that's not necessarily true.
What?
What I need right now is not further discussion on my conclusions. It's the launching of my conclusions. What the shooter wanted to launch with the crossbow was not the statues themselves, but rather something a crossbow can launch that can be used to move the statue. Yeah, we got it. If it wasn't a statue that was tied to the arrows, then what did the crossbow launch? There we go. Got it. Easy. It's the metal wire. Finally. Finally, we have reached this point in our discussion. For I present to you that which was carried by the arrow from the crossbow.
I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I can see exactly what you're trying to say. You're saying that the wire was tied to an arrow and then shot into Mr. Cochin's office. All the way from the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy down to the 3rd floor of the Babalese Embassy. What you're claiming is really what happened. I can see how Alabast's primitive statue could be moved. Gravity could be used to move the statue down the wire from the 5th to the 3rd floor. But then, what about Babal's primitive statue? The dark shadow in this photo was clearly flying away from Babal. Going in the opposite way of gravity from the 3rd floor of the Babalese Embassy up to the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy. How do you explain that?
Aha. I think I finally see how the gears behind this whole trick work. Agent Long, the motion used behind this trick. I wonder if perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head.
Motion? What motion?
This is the motion that was employed to smuggle Babal's primitive statue. Rotary motion, swinging motion, bungee action. Tactical bungee action. It is nice that Long's just like, okay, I'm gonna theorize with you on this. I'm not gonna reject it. Long is not a bad police officer, which this series has leaned on that trope quite a few times. Rotary motion, swinging motion, bungee action. It's not a swinging motion. And it's not a bungee action. That doesn't make any sense. So it had to be a rotary motion, right? I'm just trying to do process of elimination here. Swinging doesn't really make sense because of the way that they saw the... because you would have to have somebody on the other side to pick it up. So I think I'm going to go with rotary motion. Not evidence. Rotary motion. Let's see. I believe it was done via rotary motion. If the two statues were transported simultaneously...
Simultaneously? Get real! The statues would collide somewhere along the way.
Did I ever say that there was only one line of wire between the two offices? If you shot an arrow with the two ends of a wire tied to it, a circular belt can be formed.
Long Z says, don't object and call a success what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account the tensions between the difference between the two wires, the top one would sag too much to the point where the statues would collide anyway.
Agent Long, as you know, the Primitive statue is a one-of-a-kind national treasure, and the fact that Babal's statue is a hollow replica of the real statue, it would naturally be lighter than the real one, meaning that my idea is very possible.
Long Z says, "Oh!"
That's all he's got. Here's what I believe happened. Miss Yu and her mystery co-conspirator set themselves up into two different rooms. The co-conspirator bridged the rooms by shooting the two ends of the wire down on one arrow. Then the two of them covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statue. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired, carrying the other end of the wire down to Babal, where it was to be disposed of. And to do that, Miss Yu hid it inside the grandfather clock. QED. This proves it, right, Agent Long? That I'm not the killer? Oh, she actually got a hint on him.
Not yet, sis. I still haven't had my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor?
The proof is in the pudding, as it were.
Pudding is a nice dessert. So, do you think you can do it? Can you prove that what you said is what happened? Because remember, if you can't, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir.
I agree that as long as there is no proof, my hypothesis remains just that. However, what I have laid out is no mere hypothesis, for there is one more piece of evidence.
One more? This should be interesting. You think you have a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well then, let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor.
The thing that made it possible to create a circular belt out of a length of wire. I believe that it is right here in this very room. Now then, I believe this is what made the circular belt transportation method possible. Is it the ceiling fan? Because remember the ceiling fan was broken in the other embassy? Let's see.
Ha! Looks like you dropped another bomb on us again.
The last piece to the trick are two pulleys. Precisely, the ceiling fans double as pulleys in this case. And thanks to the fact that there is one installed in each of the offices, the ceiling fans made for the perfect pulley set for the wire to run on.
Oh!
This must be it. This is how the smugglers bypass the impenetrable security.
You really are something else, Mr. Prosecutor. I bet you figured it all out already, haven't you? You know who the big hotshot that set up this real-life stage show is, don't you?
The person who set up this rather large and complex stage show needs to be someone who had foreknowledge of the existence of a ceiling fan in both the Alabastian and Babalese offices, and that the passion flower support stakes could be used as arrows. The real mastermind behind this case.
Well, don't you dare make this wolf wait for his food.
Why are you so hesitant, Miles Edgeworth? If you can't say who it is, why don't you present something like you always do? A single point of the finger here in this case will explode into an international incident. However, it's already too late for me to stop the forward momentum. It appears that I have no choice now but to rush in. There is a piece of evidence that will point us to who the mysterious mastermind is. Is it the videotape? Because we have someone else there, right? Because he's got the trump card. Is it the videotape? Let's see. Let's see. The piece of the point is as to who the mastermind is. I'm trying to think, like, what... So we have the tape, the crossbow arrows, which might... Because somebody was able to set that up beforehand. Right? So let's see. Is it that? Oh, I did, yeah. This smuggling could not have been possible without the use of the crossbow. Furthermore, the arrows that were shot by the crossbow were plucked, as it were, from the flower box in this very room. Okay, so basically we've narrowed it down because of, conservation of people. It's either Heleno or Alba, right? Because Heleno, though, would not... He was at both places. Alba was at both places, but the only person who knew about the stakes was Alba. So it's Alba. Alba is the co-conspirator. They were planted so long ago that the passion flowers had the time to grow so big that Miss Von Karma didn't even notice the arrows when she visited this room today. On top of all this, the fact that the culprit knew that both offices had ceiling fans tells us that the person has very detailed information on the embassy's layout. So as you may have already guessed, the person I'm accusing of hatching this plan is the person who grew the flowers in the flower box with the utmost care. Thus it can only be you, Quirkus Alba! Are you out of your mind, Miles Edgeworth? I'm certain of what I am saying, and I am sure that he is the culprit.
Tell me, Mr. Prosecutor, what was the ambassador trying to accomplish by doing all that stuff you just outlined? Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that?
I understand your need to doubt me. However, there is one thing that stands out to me as very odd.
Just one thing, huh?
The one single end result Ambassador Alba sought to obtain. If we were to examine the focus of this complex trick, I believe we will finally find the answer to everything. Everything will become clear once we examine this piece of evidence. Let's see, what piece of evidence is it? Oh! The statue, because it would have his fingerprints on it. Right? I would fully understand the reasoning had the situation been the reverse. However, to go through the trouble of swapping the real Primadou statue for the fake, I sense a very shady reason for such a bizarre action. And who better to ask for that reason than King Primadou himself?
I see! Ambassador, we'll be examining that statue now, with or without your permission.
It's the samurai dogs. Yeah, that's the key piece of evidence. He ate them. Alright. Aha! Fingerprint. These are Mr. Cochin's fingerprints. The fact that they're on here suggests that this statue once belonged to Babal. So it was smuggled from Babal to Alabast, huh? Why was there a need for them to smuggle it in? Yeah. What else we got? A shield, huh? There doesn't seem to be anything unusual about it. I bet it's supposed to mean that this guy is protecting something. I don't think it's supposed to have that deep of a meaning behind it. In that case, what are we wasting time with this for? Let's look at some other area. Let's see. The Steel Samurai head? This guy kind of looks like the Steel Samurai, don't you think? Maybe it's because they look alike that he was picked to be the Goodwill Ambassador. I suppose that's possible. Take a look at this area around the base of his neck. Looks like a gap. Hey, you're right! Maybe it's meant to be some kind of secret. Perhaps it's possible to open the statue from this gap in its construction.
What?
Hurry up and open it, Miles! Alright, here goes. Oh. Wow, it really did open up. Hey, what's this thing that fell out? I believe a more thorough examination of it is required. They're, printing plates.
What in the... is this? Hey, is this what I think it is?
It's a plate for making counterfeit bills. Somehow it appears that we've at long last arrived at the exit to this complex labyrinth. We finally hold within our hands one of the counterfeit money plates, and the reason why the replica was smuggled into Ablaze to begin with. Nice. The Primadou statue can only be handled by the ambassador or the secretariat, and the replica is nothing more than a hollow shell covered in gold. These two circumstances make the statue the ideal object in which to hide contraband. After receiving the statue containing the counterfeit plate from Sheena, the ambassador had the misfortune of accidentally running into Damask 2. Surprised by the thief, the ambassador raised the replica statue at Damask 2 and... then, in order to frame the Steel Samurai of the murder, he covered the samurai sword in blood. Well, Ambassador Alba?
You're the leader of the smuggling ring? My country is a mess, and it's all because of you?
You're the one who killed Damask 2?
Answer us.
I never thought that you would figure things out to this level.
Huh?
However, there is one point I disagree with you on. The head of the smuggling ring was Mr. Cochin.
Quit screwing around! I have no sympathy for someone who would try to pass the guilt onto a dead man. If there is one thing I'm sure of, it's that you're the real ringleader, Quercus Alba.
It's not good to speak with such subjectivity, you know, Agent Long.
Subjectivity? My conclusion is anything but, and is the result of logic and investigation.
Logic and investigation? Only seconds ago, you were ready to arrest Miss Von Karma. I don't think we can give such flip-floppy logic any real weight, do you?
Well, huh? It looks like you still don't get why I came back.
Excuse me?
You see, the reason I came back is so that I could sink my fangs into your wrinkly old neck. From the very beginning, my real target has been you.
What? Agent Long, I demand an explanation.
Sorry, sis. I didn't mean to put you through all that. I knew you were innocent from the very beginning.
You did?
I knew that this whole incident had been meticulously planned and prepared for. So naturally, the occupant of this room, Ambassador Alba, seemed the most suspicious. But without the ambassador's permission, we couldn't get in to take another look around.
Ah, so that's why you put on this big show to accuse Francisca of the murder. Using Francisca as the bait, you were able to gain us entry and investigative rights.
Yeah, if I hadn't done that, I doubt the ambassador would have given the okay to poke around.
So that's what all this was about. Very well, I will forgive you. But in exchange for using me as bait, you will take some responsibility and help us find the truth. Agent Long, for giving me such a great opening. I thank you.
You know, I just knew, Mr. Prosecutor, that somehow if we were able to find some proof by investigating this room, that you would be able to figure out the real culprit with your special brand of logic.
The evidence detectives collect, combined with the logic of a prosecutor, that's just as it should be in a prosecutor-detective team, right?
I don't know about all that. But one thing I do know is that I'm itching to see that old man get what's coming to him. Oh, you're quite scary when you want to be, aren't you? Hey, you were the one who was planning to use me to push all the guilt onto the sis. But unfortunately for you, you misjudged me. Agent Long, I wish for you to stop trying to intimidate me. What we need right now is evidence and proof. I wonder if you have what is necessary to prove that I am the head of the smuggling ring. Don't be such a sore loser. If you really are the head of the smuggling ring, then you should acknowledge your crimes with dignity. Dignity? That is nothing more than a fool's insincere display of strength. If you really wish for me to acknowledge my crimes, then I would like to first see some of this thing you call evidence. Sure. I tell you, I knew nothing, really. I didn't even know that a counterfeit plate was hidden inside that statue. You swapped a real statue that vested in your country the authority to rule for a fake. It doesn't make any sense that you didn't know anything. It doesn't make sense. Where doesn't it make sense? Can you prove that it doesn't make sense? Yeah. He's really got us. He's turned the entire situation around against us. The proof that Interpol has been after, which points to this man as the ringleader. If we can somehow find that proof now, then we can see to it that justice is finally served. Is there nothing I can use to break this case wide open? The trump card and the videotape. With those two items, we might be able to finally bring this man down. But the card is evidence from a case that Mr. Faraday hid away a secret. And the tape was stolen by Detective Bad from the police. They're both illegal evidence. No matter what, a protector of the law can't be allowed to use such pieces of evidence. Needless to say, we Von Karmas are commanded to achieve nothing but victory, and by any means necessary. The only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside of the courts. That's what we thought at the time.
I no longer follow the path of Manfred von Karma, and I won't follow the path of the Adagarasu. This leaves me with what? What creed will I believe in? If I want to pursue the truth, then I will sully my hands in illegality. And if I want to pursue justice, then I will lose the truth. What is the law and what is justice? And which path is a prosecutor supposed to follow? That choice is one I must make by my own hand, here and now. Use the trump card, don't use the trump card. Well... Let's see. Should we use the trump card? Don't use... I think we got to, right? Use it. There is no limit to the law. Any limit that exists was set there by man. When a person goes beyond that limit, then the law, too, crosses into new territory. For what reason were laws invented? The answer to that is what I must now show. Ambassador Alba, I wonder if you might recognize this.
Oh, I wonder what that card is. I've never seen that before in my life.
It's a directives card used by the leader of the ring to relay instructions to his subordinates.
Oh? Is that what it is?
This card was sent to the real culprit behind the KG-8 incident 10 years ago. A man by the name of Mr. Manny Cochin.
Oh. So why do you have such a card in your possession?
Because it was hand-delivered to me by a certain great thief, the Adagarasu.
The Adagarasu gave that to you? Don't talk nonsense. You must be serious, Mr. Edgeworth. Do you have any proof that the card contains directions from the ringleader?
I'll have you know that the card is not the only thing I was given.
What?
This contains security footage that was shot just before the start of the KG-8 incident.
The KG-8 incident?
The card and the video. These two pieces of evidence are what will seal your fate. I like that Edgeworth's choice here is basically, should I do this by the book, or should I Phoenix write this and just bluff and just try to get somebody intimidated into slipping up?
Oh, very interesting. I must admit, I'm very curious now. Very curious indeed in these case-deciding pieces of evidence you've presented.
The prey the Yatagarasu has been chasing all this time now stands before me. I can't allow this man, who has had free reign for 10 long years, to simply walk away. Now is the time for me to bring to fruition the valiant spirit that was given to me. March 15th, 1:34 a.m., Theatrum Neutralis lobby. We're back out in the lobby. Okay, because we're going to go watch the tape.
So what is this interesting thing that you wanted to show me?
The trump card and the videotape. These two pieces of evidence together make for the ultimate hand. And this is where the real meaning behind Detective Bad's words will be realized. Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir!
What you see here is security footage shot just before the KG-8 murder occurred. From this footage, we know that the card is a directives card from the smuggling ring. This is the section that proves that the card was used to relay an order. The fact that he's holding it. As you can see, Mr. Kuchin is holding the card in his right hand.
I see. The killer is indeed holding a card with the exact same design on it. But that card and the one you have, well, just because they look the same doesn't mean that they are, does it now?
Ah, but there's a very easy way for me to prove that they are, in fact, one and the same. All we have to do is simply take a look at this. The blood. This dark red blood. Yes, this is your proof. Proof that the orders on this card were played out in that terrible tragedy. The blood belonged to the victim of the KG-8 incident. With a bit of DNA testing, we can easily verify that as fact. If you have no objections, then I'd like for you to take a look at this next piece of footage. This car that passed by in front of the victim's apartment building. It's an official Cadopian government car.
What?
Detective Gumshoe, if you could please magnify the footage. The area of the footage directly links the smuggling ring with Cadopia. What? He's got the card in his pocket? The shape of this pocket and the directives card in it. It tells us without a doubt this person in this car is Mr. Kochin.
Yeah!
The license plate on the car was also captured by the security camera. And with it, we can easily find out who was sitting in this car on that day 10 years ago.
Yeah!
Which is why I can say with confidence that you were riding in this car on that day. Uh-oh. He went Super Saiyan.
You've done well, boy, to make it this far. However, about your claim that I was riding in the car at the time, that's going to be mighty difficult to prove.
Oh, so?
The Principality of Cadopia no longer exists. So naturally, all records from that time period also no longer exist.
That arrogance. What he really means is he's already erased all traces of them.
Are we finished here, boy?
The only weapon I have left to me now is this piece of footage. There must be something here that I can use against him. Yeah, he just was playing around with that metal. You can see the metal right there. I noticed it. What the? Ambassador Alba?
Yes? What is it?
You were once an army man in the service of Cadopia. And it was you who made the many missions you participated in successes, correct?
Why the sudden backhanded praises, boy? Although, to be sure, the brilliant medals on my breast rewarded me during the era of Cadopia. But now I am the only one who owns this particular medal. In that case, the only person it could be who is sitting in this car is you. How do you figure that?
By the metal captured here in this footage. It is clearly the exact same model as the one on your chest.
What?
Oh. He's breaking apart. This is how it will be, but I won't look back. For this is the path that I have chosen.
You've moved me with your devotion to this case, Mr. Edgeworth.
Why is he taking such an arrogant stance with me?
It's almost looking possible, isn't it? With a lot of you to have come this far. It looks like I just might lose our little game this time. You might lose the game this time. You don't get another round, Mr. Ambassador. Is that a fact? Very well, I've decided to confess and admit my guilt. You're going to confess? And I will accept whatever punishment that may come as a result. What the? Regarding the Damas 2 murder, I admit it. I did it out of self-defense.
You're claiming it was justified self-defense?
Damas 2 attacked me, and I felt that my life was in danger. If I hadn't done what I did, I might be the one you found dead instead of him. Ha 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 ha! What a pathetic performance! Ha 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 ha! I'm not giving you one!
Wow, you two really know how to laugh at inappropriate times. Yeah, really. If you wish to claim it was justified self-defense, then we will need some evidence.
It's always the evidence with you, isn't it? But if that's what you require, I'll provide it. That man left a mark on me when he attacked.
What?
I don't particularly want to show it off, but this is proof that it was in self-defense. I'm an old man, and sometimes I don't pay enough attention when I should.
But Damas 2 didn't have a single weapon on his body.
Whoa. Hold on. It's nothing to get worked up over because I hid the weapon.
You hid it?
I'm sorry, but as you know, a murder is a murder, even if it's in self-defense. And I couldn't let it become public, seeing as how I am an ambassador. This is the weapon you seek, my special bonsai trimming shears.
Oh, it's covered in blood.
He was trembling quite badly during our struggle, but that's when he grabbed the shears that were sitting in my office and attacked. So you see, it was an act of self-defense.
Is he right, Mr. Edgeworth? Since he has both the wound and the weapon that caused it, it's enough to declare it so. Alright. Unless he stabbed himself.
No way! Oh, which reminds me, I guess there's still one more accusation I need to resolve. Smuggling and counterfeiting. Unfortunately, all of that is my secretary's doing. I had no knowledge it was going on. Stop spewing nonsense! You're trying to throw my investigation under the bus in your desperation! If you want to get real honest, everything in this case can be connected to you.
The murder of Damas 2 was done in self-defense? In my trials, no man escapes his crime alive.
Perhaps so, if you were my opponent in court. However, there is one very important fact that I think you may have forgotten.
And what is that?
That's what you mean. Extraterritoriality. That's right. This embassy sits on what is effectively Alabastian soil. So any trial that is to be held will be held in Alabast. Therefore, the crime I just admitted to will never be tried in your courts.
Agent Long, what is Interpol's stance on this?
Agents investigate. That's our job. The judgment of people who have confessed to their crime, that's the court's job.
Good.
And I've already confessed to all of my crimes, Agent Long. Furthermore, by the very nature of my position, I have full extraterritorial rights. These rights are effective even on your country's soil. Therefore, no matter where a crime may take place, I will never stand trial in one of your courts. That arrogance in your expression, that's nothing like the face of someone who's ready to accept the consequences. Don't tell me you have your own country's judicial system eating right out of your hands. These crimes you all speak so seriously of, to me, this has all been nothing more than a game. You may chase me out of this embassy with your accusations, but it's no big deal. Alabasta has numerous other embassies in other countries around the world. All you would accomplish is you would change the backdrop of our little game.
These 2 layers of protection that extraterritoriality provides him. This is why he's one of those who cannot be brought to court.
You see now, don't you? I live in a whole different world than you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go and fetch your eviction papers.
Oh. Well, thank you. With the voices, thank you. I'm trying. Is there nothing we can do? Be continued. Oh, yeah, this case ain't done yet. There's even more. There is even more. All right. Ladder. He who is above the law. March 15th, 2:11 a.m. We're very late now. Theatrum Neutralis lobby.
I can't believe it, sir. Extraterritoriality.
Yes, there's nothing we can really do about that. In the end, we didn't have enough authority to bring him to justice. I can't believe that even though we know he's the boss, we can't lay a finger on him. I know.
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Sorry to skip out on you, but I've got some business to take care of.
We can't even give an evil guy like him a slap on the wrist. What the heck were laws created for? What good are they? If the law can't help us, then I'll go as the Yatagarasu and take care of this myself. Don't you dare!
Mr. Edgeworth?
Sorry, that was a bit too harsh.
I know how you feel, sir. We're trying to take on an ambassador after all. And he did tell us earlier to get out of the theater. This is kind of their country, I guess. But I feel like I've been slapped across the face for just doing my job.
What am I going to do? Should I retreat for now and formulate a better plan of attack? Come on, everyone, we can't give up yet! Okay. I want you to think about something for a sec. We've never lit up for even a second, and as long as we don't stop investigating, we might find the rotten treasure hidden here.
She's right!
Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. You're right, Kay. Very well. Let us reopen the investigation and see what we will find. Come on, Kay. Right behind you.
Okay, then I'll go check out Babal a bit more, sir.
He has diplomatic immunity, but it's about to be revoked. Yeah, it's been revoked. And I have something that I need to investigate further in Alabast. Now then, before I gather any more information, I should do a bit of housekeeping. Passion flowers, data erased from my organizer. I like it. Screw those passion flowers, I hate those things. Ambassador Alba seemed agitated over something. Ah. I wonder why. There are 2 special circumstances that surround the ambassador. First, the embassy itself has extraterritorial rights. If something happens on Alabastian soil, we are unable to legally prosecute him. Cool. It sounds like embassies are the perfect place to steal whatever you want. And murder Damask 2, run a smuggling operation, and make counterfeit bills, apparently. He has a passion for logic. That is his only passion. And the Steel Samurai. Those are the 2 things that he loves in life. But I thought all the counterfeiting was done by Mr. Cochin and Babal. Yes, he apparently used the embassy's coupon printing press to do it. Ah. But it's the same story over there anyway. Babal also has extraterritorial rights. Which brings me to my next point. The ambassador's extraterritorial rights. Those rights are effective even in our own country. Really? No matter what happens, he can never be tried in our courts. He retains some very special rights indeed. Basically, no matter what wrongs he may commit, we can't bring him to trial here. So I guess we really don't stand a chance, do we? We might stand a chance if we can somehow nullify either one of his special rights. Okay. Let's look around. What's this? It's a backdrop they used in the Steel Samurai stage show today. I love the climax of that show. Steel Samurai Sushi Slash! That was the first time I'd seen that special move. But, well, the Jam and Ninja stage show's climax was much better, of course. Oh, is that a fact? That scene where he sang for Princess Misola and gave her those hair sticks? I could totally feel the love there in my heart. Perhaps the Jam and Ninja is just more popular with female audiences. That's right. The only true connoisseurs can appreciate the Steel Samurai. This was taken just before the two ambassadors gave their bouquets to the Steel Samurai. Wait, is it just my imagination? Or is there something in this picture that I've seen before? The flowers? The passion flowers? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Let's see. The plumed Punisher is better? Yeah, the plumed Punisher. Makes sense. Larry is the Steel Samurai, and he hasn't been popular with the ladies recently. It's true. What do we got? It appears to be a bouquet of Persian cyclamens and roses. Oh, you even know the exact species? Or cyclamens? I never would have figured you for an expert on flowers. Ugh. It's all because of those flowers that old lady sends me every month. Just look at me. I sound like some sort of botanist. So, what exactly is this yellow flower here? That one, I'm not sure. What? You don't know? As far as I can recall, I've never seen a flower like this before. But I feel as though I've seen this shape somewhere before. The yellow one? Yeah, that is an interesting shape, isn't it? Oh! Oh! Is that the statue? I can't believe he was pretending to be a harmless old grandpa. Talk about deceptive. I don't suppose anyone expected him to change that drastically. I bet he's thinking of something evil behind that cheery smile. Okay, please try to remain calm and focused on the here and now. Yeah, you're right. Sorry I got all worked up there. Well, the only way we're going to be able to steal the truth is if we keep on investigating. And there's Larry. There's that troublemaker standing there smack in the center, making two peace signs. Wow, the Steel Samurai stands out even more than the two ambassadors in this picture. Oh hey, the person playing the Steel Samurai is one of your friends, right? No, I have no idea who he is. Wait, but you just said he! You knew which gender he was, so you must know him, right? I beg that you please refrain from talking about that person with me ever again. Oh, man. Mr. Paleno has a really great smile, don't you think? I bet he was really happy that they were going to become Cadopia again. Perhaps, but instead he became the greatest victim in today's case. An ambassador like him, who was always thinking of his country, is really to be admired. Yeah, although this happened, I hope they'll be able to reunite the country someday. I hope so as well, but for that to happen, we need to solve this case first. We need to see to it that those who would harm the new Cadopia are locked away. And we will! Okay. So we got, So, we've denied Larry. We have denied him. So, is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Is that the Primadou statue? Or is it the knife? Hang on, is it the knife handle? Yeah, it's totally the knife handle. It's 100% the knife handle. Babal's national symbol is the butterfly, and Alabast's is the flower. It would appear that someone is employing the old hide a tree in a forest trick. What are you mumbling to yourself about? Wait, what? The handle on this knife. Ah! Yes, it's the handle that was supposed to be on the blade that killed Mr. Cochin. The weapon that killed him was carried through the Theatrum Neutralis. in the very bouquet Ambassador Alba was carrying. The commemorative photo. All right. The flower motif. It looks like one of the flower petals is missing. Oh, and take a look at the weapon itself. It's missing the exact same petal. Then the knife in this photo was most definitely the same as this murder weapon. All right. Nice. We got an update on the Alabastian knife. That's good to know. What else we got? Global Studios. Can we go to the Theatrum Neutralis? Well, no, we can't. Oh, that's too bad. We can't go here. We can look at this, though. No, we can't. We can look at the Global Studios thing. These flowers were sent by Global Studios. Global Studios? That's where they filmed the Steel Samurai television show. They have been producing hit after hit recently. So the studio is being remodeled. Oh, I read about that in the papers the other day. That mascot of theirs is also getting a facelift too, right? What's its name? Oh, you mean Mrs. Monkey? Yeah, I thought it was something like that. You really have a great memory. Huh, never underestimate my powers of recollection. We read that one before, but it's just funny that he keeps calling it Mrs. Monkey. You can see the Ablaze embassy, which is undergoing major renovations. From room expansions to garden upkeep, it looks like a lot of construction is going on. Mr. Polano said that all this work is really hard on him. He said that since Mr. Cochin passed away that maybe I could work part-time for him. She got really chummy with that ambassador. What can I say? I just have a good nose for money. It would make sense. He would offer her a job. Like, you could come work for me. What do we got? Gatewater Hotel. Flowers were sent by a variety of people and businesses to celebrate the Goodwill event. Even the Steel Samurai received some flowers from the ambassadors. There are so many bouquets here, it's like a wedding ceremony. I believe the flowers for these are for a slightly different reason. What do you mean? This event was supposed to be like a wedding between Alabasta and Babal, right? Actually, I believe they're more in a state of divorce. Okay then, this event was supposed to be their remarriage ceremony. I suppose you could call it that.
On the orders of Ambassador Alba, no one is allowed into Alabast.
But I thought a lady with a whip passed through here not too long ago.
She is from Interpol and had the proper paperwork. So while I was reluctant, I had to let her in.
Sounds like Francisca, all right.
Besides, if I didn't, that whip of hers...
Yep, definitely Francisca.
Threatened with a whip.
How about you?
Hello and welcome to the Embassy of Babal.
I'm sorry, but I don't really need to enter your country at this time.
Right now, for a limited time here at the Babalese Embassy, we're offering the very special Experience the Terrifying Fire's Ashes tour. So how about it? Shall I sign you up?
We're fine, thanks. We have an investigation to run.
I like that Babal is just obsessed with tourism and getting people to come to their country for whatever reason possible. Alright, is it logic time? I think it's logic time.
So, renovations, Cochin's counterfeiting op, and agitated Alba. Use Babalese Embassy's printing press and Babalese ink to make counterfeit bills. Babalese Embassy is undergoing renovations. Is that it? Renovations on the counterfeiting op? Yes. We know that the counterfeit bills are printed using the embassy's press, but the necessary materials, such as the Babalese ink and paper, must have been hidden in a secure location. But what do you think would have happened if the renovation had begun? Well, he probably had to find a better hiding place or get rid of it all. Right, so we can assume that the renovation was the cause of the plate and bills disposal, and the reason Mr. Cochin was killed as the ringleader of the smuggling operation. Based on what we know, who do you think was the one with the most to gain? Callias, Polano, Manicochin, or Quirkus Alba? Well, Alba, right? It's the one person who has been erasing all evidence of the smuggling operation. From both embassies, the co-conspirator who was mopping up Ambassador Alba. Ambassador Alba had a very strong motive to kill Manny Cochin. Ha!
So, he doesn't want us to investigate Cochin's death, right?
The cause of Ambassador Alba's agitation, the rotten treasure we may find, and the motive for killing Mr. Cochin. Miss Yu said it herself that she didn't kill anyone tonight. If we were to take her words at face value, then the reason for the ambassador's nervousness can only be one thing. He didn't want us to discover the real circumstances under which Mr. Cochin was killed. Then you mean Ambassador Alba is the real killer? But I thought the two of them were friends. Maybe they were, but what if Mr. Cochin was the one who first betrayed their friendship? Oh, I get it. Wasn't Mr. Cochin really pushing hard for Mr. Poleno to be ambassador after the reunification? Yes, and that was the real reason why he wanted to steal Alabast's Primadew statue. So Mr. Cochin hired Damaz 2 to go steal it for him. But when Ambassador Alba found out what he was up to, he killed Mr. Cochin? It is definitely a possibility at this point. Those two really were thinking of no one but themselves. But the question now is, how did he do it? Ambassador Alba was in Alabast, but Mr. Cochin's body was discovered in Babal, right? Right, and that is what we must solve next. I believe we now understand why Ambassador Alba was so nervous and agitated. It must have something to do with where Mr. Cochin was killed, a place where the Alabastian ambassador was likely to meet the Babalese Mr. Cochin. And the place where Ambassador Alba happened to have committed the murder is... the Theatrum Neutralis. The only place that makes sense is here, at the Theatrum Neutralis. What? Here? The Goodwill event was being held here today, correct? So the only place that the both of them would have been in is here. But if that's the case, then everything changes. This theater isn't actually Alabastian land, so that wipes out one of those extraterritorial rights he has. It makes logical sense, in which case it is a reason for us to investigate further. So what should we check out? Let's see. I believe we should check the immigration records for both Alabast and Babal post-haste. Babal's records should be easy to obtain, however. The problem will be Alabast. I wonder if they would allow us to see their record, despite the order to vacate. Oh. I'm already one step ahead of you, Miles Edgeworth.
Francisca?
I have here the security footage from both Alabast and Babal. You would do well to take a look at its contents. The security footage. Oh, you move fast. Von Kama strives to be perfect in every way. It's not in my nature to keep on retreating like this. I took the liberty of looking over the Babal investigation reports as well. From now on, you will make no excuse to back down or say that we can't solve this case. I'm sorry about earlier. We won't be beaten, because my cute little subordinate is going to try his very best, isn't he? Hasn't she patronized me enough already for a lifetime? Oh, he's a cute little prosecutor, he is. A little red bundle of fluff with a cravat. So this video contains footage from Alabast's immigration screening area. I really hope there's something in here that we can use. Well, let's see. Alright, 521. There's Alba. Steel Samurai with the Iron Infant. Which minute's footage should I examine? 522. Let's look at Alba here. I can't believe how completely fooled I was by the way he carried himself. He had me fooled too. According to the files I had sent for earlier, Ambassador Alba was a Cadopian hero. He saved the royal family from danger countless times. So what bothers me is why a man like that... Why would a man like that create a smuggling ring? Even with all the authority I have, I still haven't been able to figure out why. Sounds like the ambassador was a hero who was corrupted by evil. But no matter what happened in the past, we can't let the man he is now escape justice. Anything else? It's the door leading into the Theatrum Neutralis. The more the guy tried to keep me out, the more I wanted to get in. It's human nature. But I guess I can't complain too much. I did get led inside in the end. At least nothing seems out of the ordinary with the door. Alright. There's the guard. This man is the immigration officer who was on duty. He's making the exact same scary face that he was making a minute ago. Wait, is it just me or is he blushing? It appears that he gets flustered around the ambassador. I guess the ambassador is well respected inside Ablaze too. You could say that. The guard doesn't appear to be capable of looking at the ambassador. Okay. Ablaze welcomes you. Those are posters of this country's tourist spots, though most are of Gatewater land. I wonder if Alabastians in general like theme parks at all. The guard who stopped you has been to Gatewater land a number of times, apparently. I guess they don't have theme parks in Ablaze, huh? Don't you guys have theme parks? 5:22. 5:22 p.m. At around this time, the Steel Samurai stage show had come to an end, and Ambassador Alba was making his way back to his office. And then later he shook hands with the Steel Samurai in his office. And then he was going to give a speech in the Rose Garden. Being an ambassador sounds like a busy, busy job. It's like someone is always stealing your time away. Yes, I'd imagine it's something like that. But despite how busy he was, he still managed to find his time to kill Mr. Cochin and move his body somehow from the Theatrum Neutralis. Yeah, alright. Which minute's footage should I examine? Let's go to 5:23, because I want to see what is the big lumpy thing in there. Doesn't something about this lump's shape strike you as odd? Huh? Isn't it supposed to be this shape? No, there was clearly something odd about the bulge. If only we had the pushcart itself, we could compare and confirm my hunch. Yeah. Is the statue in there? Oh! Is Cochin's body in there? Next, let us check the footage from Babal's security camera. I hope it shows us something good. Minus 5:25. Phooey. There wasn't a single sign of a suspicious person or anything. That, right there, is the contradiction. Huh? Did I miss something? You didn't miss anything, because there was nothing to miss. However, what is missing is the image of Mr. Cochin entering his own country. But wasn't his body found in Babal? It would appear that the true face of our final puzzle has finally revealed itself. Alright.
Uh-oh. Ambassador Alba! I thought I'd ask for you and your group to vacate the premises, Mr. Edgeworth.
Actually, I thought I should let you know that this theater sits on my country's soil.
You've had your fun, and I've enjoyed our little game. I dare say that you've even achieved a new high score.
Oh, he's making a video game reference.
However, once you've recorded a score, that same game can never be replayed again. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Your game is done, and it's game over. No!
Where do you think you're going at this time of night?
After admitting to my crime, I was overcome with regret. So I'm heading to the airport now to return home.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that. There are still too many issues we need to discuss with you.
You can't stop me, Mr. Edgeworth, and you know it. Ugh.
Please, may I have a little bit of your time, Ambassador Alba?
Ambassador Polano?
Even just a teeny tiny bit is fine with me. The already strained relationship between our countries is in a precarious situation, you know.
Very well, if you insist. I will play just one more round with them and see what they want. Not that they'll get any farther.
Ambassador Polano, Mr. Edgeworth, all I wish for is the normalization of relations between our two countries. But there is one person standing in the way of that dream. I believe in you. You'll do what's right. Thank you for your vote of confidence.
Now then, what was it you wanted to ask me about? I do have a flight to catch after all. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to limit you to just one question.
That's more than enough, because I only have one question anyway. I want to hear your alibi about how you couldn't have killed Manny Cochin.
Oh, I see. You seem to have a good hand this time around. This should be fun.
This really is the very last chance we have to bring him down. I won't allow even an atom-sized contradiction to slip by. The video game references are a bit odd. Yeah, the old man is going to make a video game reference. Alright, Ambassador Alba's alibi. Alba's alibi.
Frankly, I still don't understand why I'm being placed under suspicion here. Under your hypothetical scenario, Mr. Cochin and I were fellow smugglers. But to get to the point, I was in Alabaz the whole time. So it's simply not possible for me to have killed him in Babal. That is my alibi.
So that is your alibi.
That is correct. It's simply not possible for me to have committed a crime in Babal. Now that we have cleared that up, I'd appreciate it if you would move out of my way.
I said hold it!
What is it this time? I thought I told you I'd only allow one question.
You did. But you still have yet to really answer my one question.
What?
Until you tell us the truth, I will refuse to budge an inch from where I'm standing.
Very well. I'll play with you just a little longer.
I have said Schwartz is my subordinate and representative of this country's prosecutors.
You are forbidden to lose.
Of course. That is something I've understood from the start. That guy's the one who ordered my father killed, isn't he? Yes, I believe so. The goal of the first Yatagarasu was the capture of the smuggling ring's leader. My father and Uncle Bad. Their legacy will live on, through me. So that's why we've just got to catch him, okay? We will. I promise. Now, Ambassador Alba, let's have it the truth now, shall we?
No matter how many times you ask, my answer remains the same.
Ambassador Alba's alibi. Alright, let's start pressing. Still don't understand why I'm being placed under suspicion. Being the leader of a smuggling ring while taking on the duties of ambassadorship. Don't you think that the combination is more than enough reason for suspicion? Then there was the matter of the crossbow arrows and the primitive statues. Whoa.
All of that is nothing more than your flights of fancy.
What do you mean by that? Under hypothetical scenario, Mr. Cochin and I were fellow smugglers. That's quite an objection he had. It's not a hypothesis. Earlier, he proved it to be what happened.
Well, let's leave it to that one side for now. Because it doesn't change the fact that I have no motive.
Oh? So you really had no reason to kill Mr. Cochin?
If you want to suppose I had one, then why not? I'll indulge you. After all, this is nothing more than a silly game to me.
Even if that's how you see things, I'd appreciate it if you would take me seriously.
I'm sorry. I suppose you are in a bit of a pickle. Very well. The game is no fun if the playing field isn't level. Therefore, I formally claim that I had no motive to kill. Now, let's see you disprove it.
How can he stand there looking proud when he knows he killed another human being? Well, I'm not going to stand by and just watch him get away with his crimes. In that case, what motive would I have had to kill my co-conspirator? Well, it's the... Hang on. Hang on. Where is it? Did I go back past it? The Manny Cochin. Manny was trying to get the primitive statue stolen out from under him. We established that. That's it. The note. If you want to know, I believe you did have a motive to kill. It was because Mr. Cochin had betrayed you. But you had your own reason too. Namely, you wanted to pin the smuggling all on him. Evil begets evil, and because you were trying to test each other, it turned into this mess.
I don't believe this. You have a bad penchant for telling tall tales, Mr. Prosecutor. And if you're not, then I suppose you have some proof to support your argument?
I never use guesswork in moving my cases forward. It has been proven that this note was written by Mr. Cochin's hand. Shall we take a look at it? The content of the note is a request calling for the theft of Alabast's primitive statue. By killing him and pushing all of the guilt for the smuggling onto him, you walk away spotless. I believe you understand what I'm driving at. You had more than a few reasons to kill him.
Are you finished with your hypothesizing?
Excuse me?
Let's suppose I did have a motive. Even so, a motive or a thought alone can't kill. Isn't that right?
I didn't expect him to resort to playing the semantics game with me. It appears that this is where the real battle will begin.
Now then, if you will excuse me... Wait, what? I told you at the very beginning, didn't I? You only get one question.
Ugh. Ambassador Alba, if you could please just give us a little bit more of your time. Doesn't matter what kind of man Manny was. He was my subordinate. Which is why I would like for us to figure out the real cause of his death.
That is something for Babal to figure out, and something to which I have no relation to.
Ugh. Now he's even turning down a request from Ambassador Polano. I'm very sorry. But it seems that now even my voice falls on deaf ears. There is no need for you to apologize, Ambassador Polano.
Ugh.
We must find some way to stop him from leaving.
It seems there are no further objections. In that case, please allow me to return home.
Who said that? Hold it right there, Ambassador Alba. Okay? Like I said, Mr. Edgeworth, the Atagarasu's legacy will live on through me. Yes, but how do you suggest we stop him from leaving? You just leave that to me. Ambassador Alba, do you recognize this?
No, and why should I recognize that tattered old organizer?
Wait, where have I seen that before? That is a clue my father, Bern Faraday, left for us.
Did you say Bern Faraday?
Mr. Faraday's organizer. Don't tell me this is the one from the second KG8 incident. The one in which he wrote about the Atagarasu's key?
Ugh.
Yes, this organizer belonged to the prosecutor you had Miss Yu kill 7 years ago.
I have no idea what you're talking about. You say that like it was related to me.
Inside this organizer, he wrote up every detail of every evil thing you did.
What an amusing little girl you are. But that sort of trickery won't work on me.
If you won't believe me, then take a look at this.
And what is that toy there? That's...
This thievery device was used by the Atagarasu, or rather, by my father. 7 years ago, he used this when he snuck into this embassy.
What?
These two pieces of evidence that hold the information the Atagarasu dug up on you. If you go home now, I won't hesitate to send it all to Alabast right behind you.
Little girl, get to the point!
I want you to go up against Mr. Edgeworth one more time. If you win, then I'll hand over these two pieces of evidence.
Yatagarasu? Ever the thorn in my side?
Okay, does that organizer really contain any information on his dirty dealings? It's nothing case-breaking, really. Oh, then it was just a bluff. Even if it was, we still can't let all the info my father and Uncle Bad found go to waste. Plus, just the existence of Little Thief is troublesome enough for him. These two pieces, aren't they keepsakes of your father? It's okay. I believe in Mr. Edgeworth. He'll come out on top in the end. Okay. When the going gets tough, someone's got to be there to put the wind back in your sails. After all this time, you're still quite the feisty one. I applaud your powerful nature. I refuse to lose this, too. Ambassador Alba, you won't be returning home until you give us further testimony.
How dare you all! Barring a person like me!
Ambassador Alba, your testimony, if you please.
Grrrk. All right, but this is the absolute last. Then even if you use all the power of Ambassador Polano's office, you won't stop me.
I can't let this opportunity K has created for me go to waste. Here we go. Alba's Alibi, Part 2. All right.
The last time I met with Mr. Cochin was here at the Theatrum Neutralis. After that, I was in Ablaze the rest of the time, as I stated earlier. In any case, I did not see Mr. Cochin again after that. So you see, there is no time span in which I could have killed him. Wouldn't you agree? Now, since you people were practically begging, I'll allow you to question me. What an arrogant old man.
Yes, but no matter. We can't allow this chance to escape us.
I will warn you, though, you've reached the end of my patience. Waste my time with any inane questions, and you will be punished.
So any needless pressing or presenting will hurt our case? In that case, the only thing you can do is to present the correct evidence. Understood? Of course. I don't intend to let him intimidate me. I know Mr. Cochin was killed before he returned to the ball, in which case there was only one statement to which I need to present the evidence. Alright. So we can't do any pressing. We're getting, Mo Curls here. Alright. I said Mr. Cochin was here at the Theatrum Neutralis. Alright. It was, hang on a second. The last time I met with Mr. Cochin was here at the Theatrum Neutralis. Well, hang on a second. We got the picture, right? Yeah. He's got the knife right there. Boom, we got him. I think. Let's see. Yeah, boom. Easy. I'd like you to take a look at this picture.
It's a rather nice picture, isn't it? It was to commemorate the restoration of relations between our nations.
Oh, it's commemorative, all right. That was a very lyrical sentence there. The restoration of relations between the nations. I like it. One that captures the proof I need to show that it was you who committed the murder.
Come again?
This is the knife that killed Mr. Cochin.
Yeah.
I see you recognize it, as well you should, for it was you who brought it to this theater. You hid it among the flowers you were to give to the Steel Samurai, meaning that you killed Manny Cochin here, at the theater.
It's time for me to catch my flight.
We're not through yet.
It's game over for you, Mr. Edgeworth. But I thank you for the entertainment. No matter how passionately you orate, the end result will still be the same. I won't be returning to this country ever again.
That's right. This man is an ambassador, and he has extraterritorial rights. No matter how hard we chase after him, we won't be able to have him tried in court.
Yes, that's exactly the face you should be making. The face of a worthless cur. No! Now then, ladies and gentlemen, I must bid you farewell.
The courts. Is there no one who can lay a finger on this man? Is this really the end? Oh! Oh! Agent Long!
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Prosecutor. Get out of my way. My plane is scheduled to take off soon. Sorry, but you're not going anywhere, Mr. Alba. I'm through playing games with you people. You can't touch me. If you do, it would spark an international incident, Agent Long. Sorry, but no, it wouldn't. What? Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Good job holding the fort down here until I got back. So, Mr. Alba, your diplomatic immunity has just been revoked.
Whoa! What did you say, right?
What do you mean, revoked? Spare me this nonsense and let me through.
He said the thing. He did.
Long Z says, before aiming for the throat, chew the neck shield off first. Interpol headquarters in the Imperial household of the Kingdom of Alabast. Took a while to get things rolling, but they finally moved on it. The Imperial household? What have you done? You have been relieved of your duties as ambassador, Mr. Alba. What? Effective today, effective right now. And you have Mr. Prosecutor's videotape to thank for this. The video of the outer Grossu protected? You can't be arrested simply because you're an ambassador. In that case, I thought I'd strip you of that title. You underestimated me, a descendant of the founder of detainment philosophy, Long Z. 4,000 years of deeply entrenched connections and networks around the world have really paid off. It can't be. I don't believe this. My ambassadorship has been revoked. Looks like you're finally coming to grips with your new standing.
Woohoo! Looks like he's turned docile again. He's probably in shock from the loss of his shield. What a shame. I had so wanted to use my whip on him.
Why is this happening to me? I'm just a hard-working, honest ambassador. Do you really think you can still pull that on us now? We've already ripped away the mask and seen you for who you really are, Mr. Alba.
He did it again.
No, I won't be stopped now.
He still intends to fight us?
So what if I'm no longer an ambassador? You still don't have any evidence on me. The fact remains that you cannot arrest me. I'd expected no less from you, the boss of the smuggling ring. Well, the rest is up to you, Mr. Prosecutor.
Understood.
You say that I killed Mr. Cochin in the theater, but even if it's true that there was a knife in my bouquet, I left that bouquet in the theater, so anyone could have taken it out from there and used it, right? Besides, the claim that he was killed here itself is odd. After all, wasn't his body discovered in Babal? Are you claiming that I carried his body all the way over here, there?
Preposterous. I'll be the one to prove whether it's preposterous or not. Ex-Ambassador Alba, are you ready? Because this is no game.
This is war!
This is war. That's right. Alba's Alibi, Part 3.
I killed Mr. Cochin in this theater using a knife that was stuck in my bouquet. I left that bouquet in the theater. Anyone could have taken the knife from there. Besides, Mr. Cochin's body was discovered in Babal, right? There's no way for me to have transported his body from the theater to Babal. Look, don't you think you've had enough fun with me? You've already stolen my ambassadorship from me. Would you have me surrender too? You have no plans to return to this country, isn't that right? Did you know that a bunch of your subordinates are seeking asylum because of you? As if I care. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, boot this guy out of the embassy, and we can finally end everything.
I know, and I will give it my all to see that he leaves in handcuffs. Without the title of ambassador, he is just another witness. Yes, just another witness.
All right, what are you waiting for? Let's get this guy. And get him good.
I wonder if they understand that all I can do is present evidence to the testimony. Alright, his alibi. Do I still have the restriction of pressing? Let's just look and see. I killed Mr. Cochin in this theater. I left that bouquet in the theater. Anyone could have taken the knife from there. besides Mr. Cochin's body was discovered in Babal, right? There is no way for me to have transported his body from the theater to Babal. Aha! Okay, remember what I said earlier about the pushcart? That there's something suspicious in there? That's it. The bulge is unnatural. The bulge is unnatural. All right. So that's the problem with the pushcart. Okay. Present the unnatural bulge. Yep, we got it. Actually, I do believe there was a way to transport the body out of the theater. Perhaps you should give this a look.
What is that supposed to be?
It's footage from a security camera that captured the state of the immigration area.
Should I congratulate you on getting your hands on it?
Just letting you know that we're not the only ones watching your every movement.
Thank you for the warning.
Now, if you could take a good look at this section here. It's right. This lump here inside the pushcart. Do you know what's causing it?
Should I? Because I don't.
In that case, allow me to enlighten you. This is the cause of the unnatural lump under the cloth in the pushcart. Cochin's body.
What is the meaning of showing me that?
It's to say that the unnatural bulge in the pushcart is Mr. Cochin's body. You had the Steel Samurai wheel his body away from the real crime scene.
Yeah! What a guess! But I wonder if you have any evidence to support it.
I admit that for now it is but a hypothesis. However,
if you can't prove it, then I'm afraid I must be on my way. I don't have any more time to play with you people. Sorry it took so long, Mr. Edgeworth, sir!
Kami! Detective Gumshoe, is that the Steel Samurai's pushcart?
Yes, sir! I found it in the open-air stage area!
So that's where you went.
The detective spirit that Pops left me with! I thought I'd follow my gut and go with it, sir! So, Mr. Edgeworth, is this worth anything to the case?
Yes, it just might play a major role in solving this case, Detective. But something isn't right. I thought that the entire samurai family was in Alabast. Where exactly in the open-air stage area did you find this pushcart?
I found it just lying there at the edge of the stage, sir.
Oh, let's leave that for now and examine the inside, Detective.
Yes, sir!
Yep. Blood. 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 And bits of sick. It's blood! This must be Mr. Cochin's blood. No, it's Chris's blood. We've gone over this. Which only goes to prove that Mr. Cochin's body was indeed transported by this pushcart. I believe you understand what this means, correct? You killed Mr. Cochin at this theater, and then placed his body inside the pushcart. And then you forced the Steel Samurai to unwittingly move the body for you.
I forced him to move the body into Alabast? What nonsense! Why would I bother to do such a thing?
You were scheduled to make a speech at Alabast, meaning it was difficult for you to make a stop in Babal. However, what if you moved the body to Alabast? Because it was your embassy, you could keep an eye on it and tamper with the evidence. And then you smuggled it out of Alabast.
No!
If you like, I can show how you moved the body from Alabast to Babal. Then I win.
But you can't! The security between the two countries is incredibly tight.
I'll be the one to judge whether I can or cannot prove it. And so I ask you to provide us with testimony regarding your movements after your return to Alabast.
Grrr.
Miles Edgeworth, if you figured it out, do you know how the body was moved? To be honest, I have nothing to support my hypothesis at this time. However, I don't believe I've made a mistake in my logic up to this point. Which means there is no question that can't be answered, right? The Primadou statue was smuggled successfully through a brief flight through the air. So why shouldn't there be an answer as to how the body was moved? Which means that there must be a logic flaw somewhere I can exploit. Go. Movements in Alabast.
After I returned to Alabast, I had my picture taken with the Steel Samurai shaking hands. Then, just as I was about to start my speech, the Yatagarasu appeared. I feared for the national treasures, so I raced back to my office.
Okay. Is that all?
Yes, that's all.
It looks like you left out a few things, such as the murder of Damask II. Furthermore, you left out the part about meeting with me in your office.
Those trifling matters. I don't believe I need to speak of those things again. I do so hate to waste time.
What? Is not every life precious?
Do you really need me to answer that for you?
People like you cannot be allowed to wander freely through society.
Then you'd better try hard, because I doubt you'll find a single contradiction.
He's really full of himself, isn't he? Yes, he is. How can he be so confident at a time like this?
Come, don't be shy. Go ahead and ask whatever you'd like.
Alright, movements in Alabast. After I returned to Alabast, I had my picture taken with the Steel Samurai. Alright. So why was it only with the Steel Samurai? I thought the Pink Princess was also around.
The Pink Princess was suffering from a bad hip at the time, and the doctors recommended that she rest.
Wow. So you do have a soft side after all.
The pain of a bad hip. I suppose none of you can really understand how it feels.
Oh, so you tend to strain your back as well, huh?
But isn't that just because you're normally all hunched over?
That's a good point. You did need to keep up the act no matter what, I suppose.
Huh. The point of this is not to discuss my back problems. For about 15 minutes after our handshake, I was in my office preparing for the speech.
And then just as I was about to start my speech, the Yatagarasu appeared. That Yatagarasu was just a trick that you had set up.
A most amusing joke. And how do you propose that I set it up?
If you really want to know, I can explain it in detail for you. You arranged the spotlights in the Rose Garden so that when you were to take the stage, the audience would see the Yatagarasu's shadow.
Oh, that is an interesting tale. Sadly, it has nothing to do with me. What's it gonna take for you to fess up to anything?
Very well then. Let's move on to a different question. Someone set us up the Yatagarasu, they did. After the Yatagarasu appeared, what was the state of the Rose Garden?
Everyone took refuge inside the embassy. I even helped with the effort. And then, once everyone was inside, well...
I feared for the national treasures, raced back to my office, okay? And what happened after you returned to your office?
I don't want to keep on repeating this. However, upon my return, I had that stroke of bad luck and bumped into Mask Man.
And I don't want to keep on repeating this either, but his name was Damask II.
Who cares what he was called? By the time he got to the Primitive statue that he was supposed to steal, it had already been swapped for the fake. Talk about an unlucky man. Being bludgeoned to death with a fake statue.
Miss Von Karma is really letting her whip fly now.
Eek! I think the scary part is her silence while she's doing it.
She must be at the limit of her patience as well. But physical attacks are meaningless here. Only evidence will suffice. Oh. I can't find a single flaw in his argument. At this rate, I won't be able to prove that he is actually guilty of anything.
Are we finished here?
Miles Edgeworth, can you not come up with how the body was moved above all?
Sir!
Mr. Edgeworth!
Oh, even after proving so much, is he gonna get away with it?
Is this the end? Oh, I'd rather hold it. It appears that we made it just in time. Oh!
It would be a great honor if you'd allow us to be your allies in battle. Evil magistrate, it is time for you to pay.
It's the Steel Samurai.
No, you are mistaken, for I am Steel Samurai Daddy, married man of Neo Old Tokyo. And this is Pink Princess Mommy. Edgy Poo!
No! The two people that I wanted to see the least.
Larry! What are you two doing here? Way to show your gratitude, Edgy. We just wanted help. Sheesh. I'm gonna get the bad guy with a single thrust of my samurai spear.
Go away!
How can you be so mean to us, Edgy Poo? All three of us came to lend a hand, and this is how you treat us?
Well, isn't that grand? I see they managed to find the Iron Infant.
Does that really matter right now?
Hey, is it just me or is the Iron Infant completely soaked?
Oh yeah, I found him in Babal, but he was in the middle of the pool.
Wait a second. Larry, go back to what you just said.
Huh? Oh, it appears that we made it.
Not that far back. Something about finding the Iron Infant in Babal. We found it in a pool. I don't recall there being one in Babal.
Oh, that! Well, I was in Ablaze the whole time, so I have no idea how the Iron Infant wound up in Babal. I thought I'd lost him in the Rose Garden. But I guess maybe this cute kid can swim, huh?
Wait, what? Larry, you lost the Iron Infant in the Rose Garden? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure. But I found him in...
That's enough, Larry. Shut up, Larry. I need to think. The Iron Infant that Larry lost managed to move between the two countries. Furthermore, the Iron Infant was found soaked in the middle of a pool. This is what I've been looking for. It's another smuggling route between the countries. The key to the route the Iron Infant took to travel from Alabastas to Babal is the Yatagarasu bilateral symmetry, right? Oh, that's right. This embassy was built with bilateral symmetry in mind. Not the hero we deserve, but the hero we need right now. That's right. He is. And he's gonna take on all of the guilt. Like Batman. Detective Gumshoe!
Yes, sir?
There is a location I wish for you to examine post-haste. It is where I believe the route used to smuggle Mr. Cochin's body lies.
Does something like that really exist, sir?
An embassy built on bilateral symmetry, meaning this is where we need to examine. The... Right here, because there's going to be a pool there, too.
Yes, sir! I'll be back before you know it! It's too late. It doesn't matter now what you do. It's all a waste of time. You will stay here with us and wait.
Yeah. This is Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth, it's here, sir! There is a reservoir here, just like in the Rose Garden.
Just as I suspected. What is it? The two sides of this embassy are mirror images of each other, which means that there is also a pool at the corresponding location on the Ablaze side. Mr. Cochin's body was moved into Babal through the pool in Alabast.
Avoiding the topic with a vague answer like that is unbecoming of a prosecutor. If you don't mind, I'd like to see more physical proof, if you have any.
The Iron Infant is positively soaked in water. Why do you think that is? It's because he was fished out of a pool, and not just any pool. It was the Ablaze one. I think it's pretty obvious at this point what must be true. The water reservoirs in the two courtyards are connected.
And where is your proof that the two sides are connected?
The proof is right there before your eyes. The half-drowned Iron Infant.
This blasted doll? Mr. Edgeworth, I'm back. Hey, don't tell me you guys figured everything out without me.
We did, thanks to this hero of justice's son. Even if he is just a doll, he managed to help foil the villain.
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, look, I don't want to say this, but it's kind of unlikely that the body just happened to have passed on through to Babal. This guy's a doll and he's small, so I can believe it made it, but...
He has a point.
Yes, that's right. I'm glad someone here understands. Mr. Edgeworth, are you going to next propose that a dead body can swim through a pipe? You see, Mr. Prosecutor, our chase after this man is far from over.
Agent Long, why is he helping Mr. Alba out now? He's not. He realized a flaw in my argument and is helping to move the logic along. In which case, I should return the favor and find an answer.
And another thing, Mr. Cochin's body was found in his office in Babal. But what happened to his body after it was transported to the open-air stage?
Mr. Alba had an accomplice in Babal, remember?
You mean Sheena, right?
With her there, you can see how it was possible to move the body up to the office.
Are you seriously claiming that she swam through the connecting pipe with the body?
He's right. Miss Sheena would drown if she did that. It's hard to imagine that she swam through the connecting pipe.
It looks like your hypothesis about how the body was moved is still only half-baked. In the end, it's all just the befuddled musings of an accusatory man. Now then, I believe you should give up and allow me passage. Because from the start, there was no feasible method of transporting the body. What? Mr. Prosecutor, recall Sheena's movements.
What was happening in the embassy around the time Miss Sheena was in Babal? Oh, if only there was a way to get rid of the water in the pool. Get rid of the water? Ah, that's it! The fire.
Now, I believe this time we really are done, right?
Unfortunately for you, it's far from over, Mr. Alba.
You are a most persistent man. Are you saying that you thought of a way to move the body through the water?
Move the body through the water? That's completely unrelated to how it was done.
Excuse me?
The reason I say that it is because there wasn't any water there at the time.
What do you mean there wasn't any water?
Just what it sounds like. Tonight's events made it possible to drain the water, allowing the body to be moved. The fire. Tonight, the Adagarasu set fire to a variety of locations in the Babalese embassy. In order to put the fires out, much of the reservoir's water was used. Of course, when the water was used, the reservoir's water level went down. If enough water was drained, the connecting pipe could be used to traverse the border.
So what? The water level went down, the reservoirs were connected. Does any of this matter? You can't prove any of this.
Pretending to be ignorant won't work with me. We both know what kind of situation we're in right now. Even in a game, there comes a critical game-changing moment. A moment in which you hit a wall that you must overcome in order to beat the game.
I haven't lost yet.
I found the route you used to smuggle the body, and that route will lead to your defeat.
Even if all the water was used by the firefighting effort, you still can't really call that a smuggling route.
I know that.
I should have figured that you would notice. Hey, Mr. Alba, how deep are those pools anyway? I'll have you know those pools are extremely deep. And there are no ladders or footholds along the walls either. It would be difficult for Sheena to hold the body and climb up out of the pool.
Ladders or footholds along the walls? There was no need for such things.
What do you mean?
If one were to use a certain something, they could go up or down in the pool at will.
Oh, it looks like you've got an answer already. Well, what are you waiting for, Mr. Prosecutor? Enlighten us already.
The way in which Miss Sheena and the body were able to rise up to the ground level, if there was a way to control the water level, that could be the way the body was moved. This was used so that the body and Miss Sheena could move up and down in the pool. Is it the fountain sprouts? Auto refills the water when the level's too low? Mr. Alba used the fountain spouts in a manner of speaking.
He used the fountain spouts? How so?
The water level in the pools can be controlled by opening and closing the spouts. Miss Sheena and the body were lifted upward by their buoyancy in water. The fire on the Ablaze side and the firefighting effort, those were set in motion all for the sake of smuggling Mr. Cochin's body. Shall I show you where the final destination of my train of logic leads? First, Mr. Alba closed the fountain spouts in advance in preparation of things to come. I'm getting a flashback to the Orla the Orca case with this diagram. Then he took the pushcart that was brought to the Rose Garden and pushed it along with the iron infant in Mr. Cochin's body into the pool. At this time, Miss Sheena was busy conveniently starting the first fire in Babal. She then made for the open-air stage's pool to wait for the firefighting effort to begin. When the firefighters used the water in the pool, the water level went down. And by the time the fire was put out, the pipe between the two pools was exposed. This is when she pushed the pushcart from Alabast into Babal. Once that was accomplished, Mr. Alba simply opened the fountain spouts once more. And the water level rose up to its original level along with Miss Sheena and the body. After that, Miss Sheena used the pushcart to carry the body up to the Secretariat's office. There is an elevator in the embassy after all, so you see, even with her small frame, she could have easily transported Mr. Cochin's body. And that wraps up my thorough explanation of how the body was moved. Well, ex-Ambassador Alba, what do you think? Not so untouchable without your precious extraterritorial rights to protect you, are you? I knew you could do it, Mr. Edgeworth. Way to fight back.
You accuse me of moving the body across country lines, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you don't have what it takes to indict me.
The nitty-gritty? What does the old man want now? Proof, I believe, is what he seeks.
Yes, proof. Without any who is to say whether or not any of what you said really happened.
He wants proof? What are we going to do, Mr. Edgeworth? There is no need to worry. I've had all the proof we need all along. The body wasn't the only thing to go through the pool's connecting pipe tonight. Just as Detective Gumshoe found the pushcart in the open-air stage area, so too did I find one other item there. And that piece of evidence is what will prove that the pools were the smuggling route. There was another thing that was smuggled over to Babal's open-air stage area. See what? Oh, it was the pick, right?
Take that. And what exactly is this?
You have no idea, do you? This little piece that I found on the Ablaze side will be your undoing.
A guitar pick? Would you care to explain how that is going to do me in, as it were?
Much to your chagrin, perhaps, but this is not a guitar pick.
What?
This is something I found at the open-air stage, which was transported with the body. I naturally assumed that you would recognize it, since you took a photo with it, after all. But since you don't, allow me to show you what this fragment from the stage area belongs to. Hang on, in the photo? Let's see, is there anything... Oh, Oh, it's the knife. It's the piece from the knife. Yeah. This is what the fragment belongs to. Oh, it's the...
Don't you dare chicken out on me after we've come all this way.
Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you show the correct piece of evidence now.
Yeah, sir, do the old presenting thing proud and do it right.
Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, I understand. It would appear that this evidence isn't enough to convince any of them.
Huh, what's wrong? You seem to have alienated all of your friends.
Not quite. They're merely watching out for me and pointing out to me which piece of evidence I should be presenting. I naturally assumed that you would recognize it since you took a photo with it. Right, that's the Alabastian knife, right? There we go. Let us take a good look at the murder weapon that was used to kill Manny Kochin. On the handle of this knife, there is a beautifully blooming flower. However, it would appear that it's missing a single petal. Now, let's see what happens when you try to fit this pick in that open slot. It's a perfect fit! I assume that the petal must have fallen off of the flower during Mr. Kochin's murder. And then it was accidentally placed into the pushcart along with Mr. Kochin's body.
That's an interesting story. Nothing more.
Well, I assure you it's more than just a story, because for some odd reason this flower petal was wet when I found it.
It was wet? You say?
Yes, and the only place it could have gotten wet from is the open-air stage's pool. Now I ask you, how did a part of the weapon which was smuggled into the theater wind up in the open-air stage area on the Babalese side of the embassy? I don't think I need to waste any words explaining this, as this petal explains it all for me. It proves that someone went from the Rose Gardens pool on through into Babal.
Impossible! The people of Zhengfa have been waiting to see you face to face, Mr. Alba. I'll tell you, everyone back home will be there soon. You should be happy. Why?
Why? It's a little late to be asking that question. You should have known from the very beginning, when you took your first life. No matter how you may plot, or how you may try to cover it all up, you can never hide from your crime and what you've done. Because we're here to see it, that justice is served to people like you.
You can't call where you've given a perfect argument.
You know, I don't think this guy is going to ever admit to his wrongdoings, Mr. Edgeworth, because he values himself above all else. People who can't be negotiated with are people who refuse to admit when they've lost. I don't believe these kinds of people really exist because everyone breaks eventually. You're right. In that case, I have no choice but to use all of the evidence I have. I'll use it all until he breaks under the weight of his crimes. Mr. Alba, I request that you testify once more. This really will be the end of the line. To be continued, okay. Save. Alright. The final testimony. Quercus Alba. Okay. Hang on. I will be right back, and then we will finish this. Finish this right up. All right, I'm back. Let's go. March 15th, 3:33 a.m., Theatrum Neutralis lobby. Mr. Alba, I request that you testify once more.
As if there's anything else for me to testify about.
I still have yet to fully prove that it was Mr. Alba who murdered Mr. Kochin. Well, I would like to hear about your movements before the murder occurred. I wonder if you could tell us about what you did here at the Theatrum Neutralis.
Very well, I suppose I could tell you about that. Because about all I did was watch the Steel Samurai stage show.
Elaborating on even that alone is good enough for me. The only way for me to place this man under arrest is to pinpoint the exact location of where the murder took place, for that is the key to this investigation. Alright, once again, we are cross-examining him. Alright. Steel Samurai show.
I watched from the last row. The stage was well lit, but it was dark out in the audience. I swear I was there in the audience, but it's hard to prove that, I suppose. I do remember the contents of the show very well, though. Is that proof enough for you? Those moving scenes were seared into this old man's heart. I'll never forget them.
So you were in the theater proper, watching the Steel Samurai stage show, were you?
Of course I was. I have a great fondness for the Steel Samurai. Yeah, I was pretty cool up there, wasn't I?
You're not the one who was cool. The Steel Samurai who was cool. Yeah, and the Steel Samurai special finishing move today was really something, huh?
Hey, Edgy, who is she? Who is this super cute girl?
She's been standing here this whole time, and only now he notices her? Her name is Kay Faraday, and she's helping me in my investigation. Sorry I didn't get to introduce myself earlier, but better late than never.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm Larry Buds.
Silence in the peanut gallery. There's no time for such trivialities at a time like this.
Mr. Prosecutor, this is the final battle. You got that?
I know. This is the end. For that man there.
Now that's the kind of thing I like to hear. I think I'll give trusting you a try, Mr. Prosecutor. Or, rather, Mr. Edgeworth.
Huh?
I leave this critical battle up to you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Have no fear. I will finish the job. This really is the endgame. Time has come to expose every last one of Mr. Alba's lies. And go. Steel Samurai's show. Alright. The last row, I should think that an ambassador would have had a special seating reserved.
I wanted my staff to enjoy the Steel Samurai show as well, so I gave up all the good seats for them. It was enough for me to simply see him.
Hey, the Steel Samurai wasn't the only hero. Let's not forget about the Pink Princess here.
My dear madam, if you continue to thrust about like that, your hip may begin to hurt again.
Oh my. Well, aren't you the considerate person when you want to be? But this young butterfly is on the side of edgy poo. So you can spare me the flirtatious come-ons. Wow, he's completely frozen. In frustration, perhaps, I dare say she can be one rather trying opponent. In any case, Mr. Alba, can you actually prove to us that you were watching the show? And then there's there in the audience, but it's hard to prove that, I suppose. Okay. Are you admitting, then, that you have no way of proving to us that you were watching?
Quiet! You buzz in my ear like a pesky little fly. If you don't wish to listen quietly until the end of what I have to say, then perhaps you should pack up and get out of my way. I see that you're willing to be a bit more receptive now. Well, it's true that it may be difficult to prove that I was out in the audience.
Do you remember the contents of the show very well? Okay. Well, I remember the contents of the show as well myself.
That's nice.
That's nice? House Edgeworth, don't allow yourself to be riled up by him at this important juncture. I wasn't planning to let him.
Well, if you ask me, I think I'm the biggest Steel Samurai expert around here. And didn't you think the climactic scene of today's show was just totally awesome? Yes, I remember that well. And that spectacular special move. The way you delivered the final blow against the evil magistrate's early summer rain jab.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh, that scene will live on in my heart forever. Is that how it went? I totally forgot about that.
How can you forget your own special moves? That's the special attack that the Steel Samurai uses when he's using the Samurai Spear.
Ah! We got him! We got him! Because the Samurai Spear was broken, and he didn't use it in the show.
We found that earlier.
Yes, and today was the first time they showed it off, was it not? If I hadn't watched the show, then how could I answer you with the name of the move?
I suppose you're correct, but if you could, please elaborate on this point for me.
Oh, we got him. We got him so bad.
Yes. Early summer rain jab move. Nope. Because the spear, because he bent it, Larry couldn't do the early summer rain jab special attack. Oh, we got it. There we go. The special move today was the early summer rain jab. Is that your final answer? Is that a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire reference?
You little irritating gnat. Do you think you can trip me up by asking the same question over and over?
That was not my intention. Your testimony is more than sufficient. However, I believe it would be wise for you to take a look at this.
The Samurai Spear? What about it?
The spear actually never made it on stage today.
Excuse me?
Unfortunately for you, tonight's Steel Samurai happened to be a goof of a young man with an abundance of useless hot-bloodedness.
Huh?
Having said that, said useless man bent the spear during his rehearsal this evening. Okay, do you remember what the Steel Samurai's special move was tonight? It was the Steel Samurai Sushi Slash. Correct, because he couldn't use the spear, a last-minute change was made. Had you really been watching the show, you would have known the move that was used. Quercus Alba, you didn't watch even a single minute of the Steel Samurai stage show tonight, did you?
So if he wasn't watching the show tonight,
it opens up the possibility that he was busy killing Mr. Cochin instead. So where were you during the show? I demand an answer, now! Just what is so funny.
You're so sloppy, and so are your conclusions. I still insist that I watch the show, or most of it in any case.
What do you mean by most of it?
You see, during the show I left my seat for a spell to visit the bathroom. I assume that was when the dramatic scene was played out on stage. That is the lousiest, lamest excuse I have ever heard in my life, pal! Just because he got the name of the move wrong. We can't really use that as proof that he didn't watch the show at all. As a fan of the Steel Samurai, I had wanted to watch the entire show. Honest.
As a Steel Samurai fan, or someone who wasn't even in his seat for the climax of the show, you have no right to call yourself a Steel Samurai fan, ever! Who was that just now?
It would be I, young lady!
Larry, what are you doing interrupting me like that?
Hey, G, please, hold for a second. I beg. You may never accept this old man as a Steel Samurai fan, but I totally think he's a Steel Samaniac. What exactly is a Steel Samaniac, pal?
I believe he meant to say Steel Samurai Maniac.
Yeah, and trust me, I know a real fan when I see one because I'm the Steel Samurai.
I will never acknowledge you as the true Steel Samurai! What are you getting so worked up over, Mr. Edgeworth?
It appears that the real Steel Samurai recognizes me as a fan. As well he should, for I am a fan. It's not as though I missed the entire show. It was a most amazing show filled with the spirit of the young and the young at heart.
The sarcasm dripping from his long wooden nose couldn't run any thicker. Now this is personal. Yes, it is. Getting the name of the move wrong only proves that he didn't watch the last scene. What I really need here is something more definitive. Something that links Mr. Alba directly to the murder of Mr. Manny Cochin.
You know what, Gramps? You're really something else. I'm honored to receive such praise from the Steel Samurai, but what is it for? Well, I was just wondering how you found out about the early summer rain jab. That move is a bit of a secret that only a small portion of the staff know about.
Wait, it was a secret? Larry, wait, what did you just say?
Huh? Did I say something stupid again?
Did you say that the early summer rain jab was actually a secret?
Well, maybe I shouldn't have said secret. It's more like we only decided on the name of the move right before the start of the show.
Right before?
Yeah, the stage director was going nuts because we were supposed to debut the move. About 5 minutes before the show, we threw it up on the dressing room's whiteboard. Early summer rain jab. That's kind of how we decided the name of the move. But by that time, I'd already spent the spear, so I guess the whole thing was kind of pointless.
All of you Steel Samurai actors are the same. The director has my complete sympathy. Yeah, she would know, wouldn't she?
Long story short, because we changed the move to the sushi slash, we kind of pretended that the early summer rain jab didn't exist at all. I mean, it'd be bad if someone found out we'd changed the move, so we made it a secret.
So basically a gag order was issued for publicity's sake.
It almost makes the early summer rain jab sound like a lost art. Yeah, which is why I think most of the staff haven't ever heard of the move. Hold those lips of yours still! What the heck, old man? I've done nothing but listen. And from what I can tell, it's all very unrelated to the case. It's also very tedious and a pointless exercise in wasting time, much like a kid show.
Mr. Alba, I believe the one who should be quiet now is you.
How dare you!
I suspect that you've already noticed exactly what the very severe implications are in this man's testimony.
Ha! So now you're trying to bully me, huh? There are no implications to be read into a behind-the-scenes story of a kid show. Don't even think about trying to slither your way out of this, Quirkus Alba!
You were the one who said it yourself that the name of the move was Early Summer Rain Jab. But that name was only decided upon right before the show was about to start.
So, just what are you driving at? That the name of the move you told us was never used in the show or said aloud.
Now then, would you care to tell us about how you found out the name of that move?
Because I can only think of one way you could have known.
Quirkus Alba, this is the only way you could have known the name of the special move. You saw it. You asked about it. You thought it up. It was your idea. We saw it on the board, right? Because you said it was on the board. So yeah, you saw it. You knew the name because you saw it. You saw it on the dressing room's whiteboard. The staff members who knew were keeping it a secret. So you couldn't have simply gone up to a staff member and asked. Which means that the only other option left is that you saw it on the whiteboard. So that means that Mr. Alba was in there at some point, right?
But what's the big deal, sir? I don't see what that means.
There is another piece of evidence that has a great deal to do with the dressing room, so we can't afford to let this slide. This is related to both the dressing room and to Mr. Cochin's murder. The dressing room. Is it the pushcart, right? Yeah, the pushcart. The pushcart that was used to move the body was right there in the dressing room. During the show, the pushcart awaited its turn to be pushed on stage in the dressing room. And it was finally pushed there along with the Iron Infant in the last scene of the show. And then, right after the show ended, it went into Alabast along with the Steel Samurai. Which means that the only time the killer could have placed the body inside the pushcart was when the pushcart was in the dressing room backstage. So basically, the killer has to be someone who visited the dressing room during the show. Precisely.
Yeah!
Oh, but wait. What if, and this is just a what if, What if the murder took place right in the dressing room?
What do you mean, Kay?
I have to admit, she brings up a valid possibility. During the show, the dressing room was supposed to be devoid of people.
Slipping undetected into a private dressing room then would be as simple as pie.
The killer must have come up with an idea to move the body with the pushcart then, too. Correct, thus making the theater's dressing room the ideal location for the murder of Manny Cochin. Circus Alba, during the show, you went down to the dressing room, and I want to know why.
Yes, I was there. I went into the dressing room. I knew it! I'm placing you under arrest right now, pal. You got that? Arrest! Not so fast. What is it now? Don't I deserve a chance to explain myself?
Explain? What is there to explain?
I believe I told you earlier that I went to the bathroom. Well, I got lost when I did. I wanted to ask for directions. When I opened the dressing room door, no one was inside. And that's when I saw the name of the move on the whiteboard. You punk! Still trying to get out of this?
Do you really think you can get away at this point? Mr. Edgeworth, isn't there anything you can do to stop him?
No.
Don't have enough evidence on hand to do anything. I don't have the airtight evidence I need to put this man away for good. But if that's what I need, perhaps... Agent Long, I believe an investigation of the dressing room in question is in order. It's possible that we may find new evidence there.
Yeah, if Mr. Edgeworth pokes around in there, I'm sure we'll find some new facts, pal.
Oh, and if we use Little Thief, we may even learn something from the recreation.
We don't need to do any of that.
What? Wolfie, how could you?
I'm not saying this to be mean. Just that we've already searched there. My men really are something else.
And they found nothing?
There's only one thing I can say to you, sis. And it's they found nothing. That's it.
I guess you're right. If they'd found something, they would have reported it to us.
They couldn't find anything. This because there was nothing there to find.
And if there is no info to feed into Little Thief, then I can't do much to help either. I'm enjoying this, but I don't know why they didn't split this into 2 cases. I mean, this is basically a whole second case. Yeah. Is this the end? The murder took place in the theater, which is not protected under extraterritorial rights. And the fact that it was Mr. Alba himself who committed the murder. If I can't prove both statements to be true, Mr. Alba walks away a free man. Is there no other course of action left to us?
It would appear that your hand of cards has turned out to be a bust. Now, if you will excuse me, because of you people, I missed my flight. Now I must make haste to arrange for a new one.
Who is it this time? Hold it right there, you whippersnappers!
First Larry, and now you.
What is with this scary mobster-like scowl on your face, Edgy Poo? Don't treat me like I'm some sort of nuisance. I've been meaning to say this, but all of you keep talking about things I don't get at all. If you're leaving this lady in the sad, depressing, lonely dust that I'm about to cry in.
Why did you have to speak up right at this instant?
But you know what, Edgy Poo? Cheer up. Because I'm about to give you the most wonderful thing.
The most wonderful thing? From you?
It's so super special that I couldn't give it away to just anyone, you know. Ah, my special present of love to my sweet Edgy Poo. Are you ready? Is this.
It's...
Samurai dogs?
It's a box of those samurai dogs, right?
Yes. Oh, Edgy Poo, here. Go on and eat one and you'll feel as right as rain.
Are we through here?
Why did everyone get so quiet all of a sudden? Edgy Poo, tell me you understand the depth of this lady's love for you. I'm not one to hand out snacks willy-nilly, you know. No, sir. The thought occurred to me that maybe it would be good if I fed you and made sure you were nice and full. One day it's my dream to serve you some of my own homemade food. I mean, isn't it the desire of every woman to make sure that their beloved never goes hungry? That's what I've experienced. I'll tell you one thing, a long time ago, they say I could make the most delicious meal being getting thrown me. I was a star back then. Mr. Edgeworth, can't you do anything about her?
There is no power on earth that can force that woman into silence.
But I'm so sick and tired of it all. All you people do is look down on me. Even this box of samurai dogs played me for a fool. I had a special design on it, like its fan, like the Japanese flag. So I thought it was special. When I ate one, it tasted just like all the rest. Oh, it made me so mad. Wait, a special box with a Hinamaru-like fan on it? I have never heard of such a piece of merchandise existing before. However, there it is. The red sun on this fan is filled in. Is it possible? Could it be? After the show, the samurai dogs were piled up on the dressing room floor. However, there is no such thing as a Hinamaru dog. Wait, is it blood? This contradiction of facts between something that should not exist and yet does. The rays from this red sun may just be what we needed to point us in the right direction. At present, the studio bigwigs basically told us to play delivery boys. We were supposed to hand the dogs off to the embassy people and tell them hi. I had to pile them all into the pushcart just to move them. I believe you understand what this means, correct? You killed Mr. Kochin at the theater and then placed his body inside the pushcart. Getting lots of flashbacks. And then, you forced the Steel Samurai to unwittingly move the body for you. It's time to piece the final pieces of this logic puzzle together. No matter how fragile or small the connections may be. Once we've found them all, the way to the truth will be revealed. Alright, Samurai dogs, body in the pushcart, Hinamaru dogs. Let's see. Well, we have the body in the pushcart and the samurai dogs. That's a connection. Because he had to get rid of the dogs. The killer used the pushcart to transport the body, which means that they had to remove the samurai dogs from within first. Therefore, the samurai dogs that were piled up on the dressing room floor were most likely taken out of the pushcart by the killer. Hinamaru dogs and the samurai dogs. Because I bet that's blood on it or something. That which should not exist, this box of samurai dogs with a Hinamaru on it. If this red sun was filled in when the killer was busy removing samurai dogs from the pushcart, then it's proof that the murder took place in the dressing room. As long as this red substance turns out to be what I believe it to be. Wendy Oldbag, I thank you. What you have given to me is truly something very special.
Edgy Poo! Mr. Edgeworth, are you sure you're feeling okay, sir?
Mr. Alba, as I suspected, you killed Mr. Kochin in the dressing room.
How many times must I listen to you repeat yourself? Haven't you figured it out yet? Your words are meaningless, worthless, and powerless. The only way I'm going to continue to cooperate is with some definitive evidence.
That arrogance, that self-confidence. You believe that you've erased every piece of evidence that could incriminate you. However, there remains one piece here, and it is what will put you away for good.
Ha! You're bluffing. Oh, hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Sounds like you finally found them. You finally found the fangs we needed to go after this guy's jugular. So tell us, what about the box of samurai dogs is going to put the old man away?
The trace evidence that will bring him down? Why, it's here, of course. That right there. This box of samurai dogs with a Hinamaru fan on it. This should never have existed. So I want you all to take a good look at this red spot. It's a single drop of blood.
Huh? What? Blood, you say?
Agent Long, I'd like this blood analyzed post-haste.
I've got to admit, I'm a bit surprised. I can't believe we found blood in a place like this. Hey, you, get this down to the lab, pronto.
But why was there blood on that box to begin with? If we think about the flow of the crime, I think the reason will become obvious. Larry, you said that you transported these samurai dogs with the pushcart, correct?
Yeah, you have a great memory, Edgy. And that pushcart was a bit too big for my son, you know what I mean? So to make sure everyone could see him, I had to pile some stuff in. I figured the samurai dogs were there, so I used them to fill up the cart.
If what Larry says is true, then what were the boxes doing on the floor?
Ah, I see. The killer took them out in order to place the body in the pushcart.
Exactly, and that is when I believe the victim's blood found its way onto that box.
But when my men investigated the room, not a single box of samurai dogs was in there, because embassy staff members had already confiscated them.
Yes, no doubt to hide the evidence of the murder. It's a good thing Miss Oldbag managed to steal that one box before they got to them, huh? Looks like Miss Oldbag also managed to put this great thief to shame. What a scandalous way of putting that. I didn't steal. I received it from myself. That's an interesting way to put that. Quercus Alba, I'd say this was one very fatal oversight on your part.
Sorry to rain on your little love fest. However...
How can he be so self-confident in a no-win situation for him like this?
Even if that blood turns out to belong to Mr. Cochin, then what?
So, Mr. Edgeworth, it sounds like he's not ready to call it quits yet, huh? The sole piece of evidence that was left at the scene of the crime. That alone has shed light on a new fact. At the very least, we now have proof that the murder occurred in the dressing room.
And? You say that like it means something.
Huh?
Excuse me, sirs. Report! What were the results of the analysis?
Sir, the analysis came back and confirmed that the red substance is blood.
I knew it! With this, Quercus Alba! Mr. Edgeworth, I wonder if I might humor my question.
Your question?
The one from before, have you forgotten? Even if that is Mr. Cochin's blood, what difference would it make? Like we already told you, it proves that the crime scene was that dressing room. But it doesn't prove that I am your killer, does it? That's...
He has a very good point. The blood on that box doesn't prove that Mr. Alba is the killer. Then, this evidence, it's meaningless?
It can't be. We were so close, sir.
What if it's his blood, though, because he has an injury? I want to smack that smug look off his face. Come on, there's got to be something we can do. We finally found a solid piece of evidence. There must be something I can expose with it. I can't think of a single thing.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. Who was that? It's too late. I won't allow anyone to stop me now. It wasn't me, pal. It wasn't me this time either.
It wasn't me either. It was me! What did you... because I haven't finished reporting everything to you yet, sir. There's more.
What? Hurry up and spit it out!
I like that forensics guy is getting in on this.
Yes, sir.
That blood I mentioned, it's not of the same blood type as the victim's blood.
What?
No.
What? What do you mean it's not the same type? You mean it's not the victim's blood? If it isn't his, then who the hell is it?
I don't know, sir. All I know is that it's not the same blood type as the victim's, sir. What should we do now, Mr. Edgeworth? I have no idea what's what anymore. Neither do I.
My, what an amusing turn of events. That blood drop proves something to be true, all right. Namely, my words.
And which one of your words would that be?
The ones where I said that your words are meaningless, worthless, and powerless. That blood has nothing to do with the murder investigation whatsoever. Need I remind you that the blood got onto that box long before it entered my embassy?
What sort of nonsense?
Yeah, it's blood, pal. There's no way it's not related to the murder. So you would like to believe? What if someone preparing the samurai dogs had a small nosebleed? What then? Yeah, I guess that's possible. Damn it. Have we been wasting our time on a red herring? The blood doesn't belong to anyone connected to the case. That should be clue enough. Quercus Alba, you bastard! Silence. Don't you ever address me with such a filthy word again. I've wasted enough time here with you, and you have your answers. Now, let me through. Alba, it doesn't matter where you run off to. You'll never escape me. Someday, I'll have the satisfaction of sinking my fangs into you. You'll see. All of Interpol will be behind me, working to see to it that that day comes. Do you know what your words sound like to me? They sound like the whinings of a pathetic loser of a mutt. Oh!
Is this really the extent of all that we can do? Is the blood really from someone completely unrelated to the case? Or is there another possibility? Someone else other than the victim? Just when I thought I had him backed into a corner, it was I who was backed into one. In a situation like this, what would that man do? That man? I wonder who that could be. What would he, who can turn any desperate situation around, do? Alright, see ya. Turn it around? A turnabout? That's it. I must turn my way of thinking around. It's not whose blood is this, it's whose blood could get onto a box like this. And if I think about it that way, if the blood got onto the box when the body was being placed onto the pushcart, then the owner of said blood must have been in the dressing room at the time. And there is only one person that could be.
Well, I must praise you for trying so hard. Because of you kids that I was removed from center stage, and will be forced to live out the rest of my life in the shadows, unfortunately. But not a total loss, as the underworld will allow me more freedom than you'll ever know. Freedom like what the raven feels as it flies through the dark night sky. You can't lay a finger on me, not now or ever. The arm of the law is powerless before me.
Yeah, okay, it's what I figured. Powerless, is it? I wouldn't be so sure about that if I were you.
What do you mean?
Allow me to describe you in one word. Pitiful.
Pitiful? How so?
Quercus Alba, your wings were clipped long ago. And for someone who was trying to fly away on them without noticing that fact, pitiful is the perfect word to describe you.
Ha! Mere words!
What do you mean by his wings are clipped, Mr. Edgeworth? Just what you think it means, Kay. We had already caught him in our trap a while back, with an incredibly powerful, definitive piece of evidence.
Hey, Earth Mr. Prosecutor, care to speak in English? What are you talking about? What piece of evidence?
The piece I speak of is, of course, this drop of blood. But we know that it's not from the victim. I don't see how it remains relevant to the case at all. Miss Von Karma, I believe that this is exactly why it's very important to the case. And the part that is the most important is the fact that it's not the victim's blood. You're looking a little pale. Good. Then I believe you're already aware of what I mean.
Then you know who the blood belongs to?
Of course I do. This piece of evidence is the irrefutable proof that will stop the killer in his tracks. The blood that soiled this box of samurai dogs belongs to this person. It's Alba. The blood of the red sun on this box belongs to you, Quercus Alba. What?
What?
Why is his blood on the box of samurai dogs? He's not even a victim. The blood fell onto the box when Mr. Cochin's body was being loaded onto the pushcart. At that time, the only two people in the dressing room were the victim and his killer.
So that's what you mean? If the blood doesn't belong to the victim?
Then there's only one other person it could belong to. Yes, and that person is the murderer himself. That's the only logical conclusion.
But Mr. Cochin was the one who was stabbed, sir. Why would Mr. Alba have been the one who was bleeding?
What if during the murder, Mr. Cochin had fought back? You mean if before Mr. Alba could kill him, Mr. Cochin managed to wound Mr. Alba? Yes, and I believe we have a piece of evidence that proves that he was bleeding then. What is the piece of evidence that shows that Mr. Alba was probably bleeding at the time? The fact that he showed us his injury? Yeah. Mr. Alba, you bear on your body a great wound.
That was from Damas 2 attacked me with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, and that happened way after he was in the dressing room. But it is that what really happened. You can manufacture a weapon by smearing blood on it, so you just can't accept that as fact. Shall we try a test, Mr. Alba, and see if the shape of your wound matches the scissors?
You really are something else, Mr. Edgeworth. You don't let a single thing slip by you, no matter how insignificant the possibility.
You're one to talk, Mr. Alba. You've managed to give the law the slip for 10 years as the smuggling ring's leader. No matter the danger, you can hide every last ounce of fear and anxiety from everyone. You truly are a one-of-a-kind criminal.
I am the master of my fear. However, to think that a person such as you could miss such a large thing.
You believe I've overlooked something?
You said that my wound was caused by Mr. Cochin, and that it was caused here in one of the theater's dressing rooms, right?
Yes, that is correct.
I'd like to point out that it's simply not possible. My wound is a stab wound, and one that could only have come from a blade. I wonder where you will propose that such a weapon came from.
This theater was packed with security guards. It would have been impossible for anyone to come into the area with a weapon of any sort.
Just as Mr. Alba was able to bring in the Alabastian knife in a bouquet, there must have been some other way to sneak in a weapon of some sort. But as long as you can't prove what that other weapon, well, the way it was, all your talk about Mr. Cochin stabbing me is pure nonsense. So if that other way does exist, you'd better hurry and tell me now.
With pleasure.
Wait, what?
This piece of evidence shows us how Mr. Cochin brought a weapon into the theater. The Yatagarasu key. Among law enforcement, this piece is known as the Yatagarasu's key.
That key!
That's the key that my father stole from here 7 years ago. And it is very unique in that it is both a key and a knife, meaning that under the guise of a key, it could have been easily brought into the theater.
Girl!
You couldn't dispose of the knife that stabbed you. Therefore, you wiped off the blood and placed it back in Mr. Cochin's pocket. After all, the key itself opens the safe in his office. Inside that safe, there was a document about Cadopian papers signed by Mr. Cochin. Another ordered to make it look like Mr. Cochin died as the leader of the smuggling ring. You had to make it so that the police were the ones who opened that office safe. All that hard work to save yourself only served to destroy you in the end. Shall we try matching this knife's blade with your wound, Mr. Quercus Alba? And that is what some may call the coup de grace.
Impossible! You can't take me down! Swine, all of you! Especially Manny Cochin! This is all because of that man's betrayal! He sought to steal control of the smuggling ring from me by removing me as ambassador, which is why he deserved to die while bearing the guilt for all of my crimes for me. That's why I set up the Yatagarasu's card and how this incident was born. Manny was supposed to be the smuggling ring's leader who was killed by the Yatagarasu. But I had yet another reason, yet another story that was supposed to play out. Manny's death was supposed to bring everything to a close. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling prosecutors!
Scooby-Doo reference. Mr. Alba, I'm afraid there is one more question I forgot to ask. This country's are Alabasts. Which country's court would you like to face first? Either way, it's game over for you.
It's worse!
Oh. March 17th, 11:21 a.m. District Courts, Defendant Lobby Number 2.
Oh, this is it, the big day. It's Mr. Alba's trial today.
And next week, he's scheduled to stand trial in his own country of Alabast. Francisca is heading that one. I suspect she'll be serving a full course of whiplashes at it.
Having to face Miss Von Karma in court right after facing you, sir.
Ooh.
I don't even want to think of what that would be like. I caught a glimpse of Mr. Alba as he was being escorted into the courthouse, and boy, he looked about as glum as I do the day before I get my monthly paycheck. You know, I've been thinking that flight attendant and even Mr. Portsman were all Mr. Alba's secret agents.
Correct. That smuggling ring was the common thread between all of the incidents. Cammy Meal was to provide support during smuggling ops using her job as an attendant. And Mr. Portsman was to manipulate trials related to the ring to end in their favor.
Oh, go you airlines, and even the prosecutor's office. No one was safe from the smuggling ring, huh, sir?
I suspect there are even more members of this ring spread throughout the world.
Yeah, it sounds like such a big op that I can't even begin to imagine what it's like.
What is it, Detective?
Nothing. It's just, well, come to think of it, Mr. Ernest Amano's trial is also scheduled for later today, sir.
I'm aware of that. Mr. Amano has been working with the smuggling ring now for over 10 years. He used the Amano Group's various connections worldwide to resist the ring. But all of that has come to an end as his conglomerate is now undergoing harsh scrutiny. I owe Mr. Amano a debt of gratitude, but he must pay his debt to society.
Well, with the arrests of both Mr. Alba and Mr. Amano, I guess that about wraps up the KG-8 incident as well, huh?
I suppose so. The real killer in the KG-8 incident 10 years ago was Manny Cochin. And 7 years ago, the killer in the second KG-8 incident was Mac Rel. Those two facts are the unshakable truth. However, it seems that a lot of effort was put into hiding these and other truths from us. And I will expose it all into the trials today.
You're solving cases left and right today, aren't you, sir?
CCU and Dead Man. Perhaps now these two brave souls who tried to make the truth known can rest in peace. By the way, I received some gifts from Ambassador Paleno. Shrimp, crab, beef. I don't need any of these, so I'm giving them to you.
What? Seriously, sir? Wait, actually, I don't think I want them anymore. The way you're holding them. Don't tell me they're just coupons, sir.
Detective Gumshoe, have you not read the paper recently? Ever since the two countries became Kidopia again, its economy has changed.
Really?
And it seems that Ambassador Paleno has reaped a few benefits of his own from it. He has been announced as the official ambassador of the newly reunified Kidopia. But what a pity. Even though every item he sent is a treasure, you don't seem all that interested. Well, if you don't want them, I can give them to my lovely assistant, Kay.
Wait, that's not what I said. So, Mr. Edgeworth, please let me have them, sir. Actually, come to think of it, where is Kay? How come she's still not here?
Hey, you've got to be more alert than that.
Hey!
I can't believe you didn't notice. I was even mimicking Mr. Edgeworth's voice for a bit.
I totally didn't notice you or realize that voice was you. Longzi says, ferocious love blooms with each new spring.
Agent Long, a pleasant surprise to see you here.
It's been a long time since I set foot in a courthouse, but I wasn't going to miss watching the guy who screwed up my country finally get what's coming to him. Well, that and something else. I want to see you in action in court.
Is that so, Agent Long?
We flushed out all the counterfeit bills, so Zhang Fa is finally at peace again. And it's all thanks to you, so I just want to say thanks.
Oh, I never thought I'd see the day old Wolfie says thanks to Mr. Edgeworth. I should be the one thanking you, Agent Long. If you hadn't negated Mr. Alba's extraterritorial rights, I would not have been able to bring him to trial. I believe the victory belongs to the both of us in this case.
A shared victory, huh? Look, don't get me wrong, I'll still never forgive you, prosecutors. And I have zero interest in that truth thing you talk about in court. I've always done things my own way, and that's not about to change, you got that?
I see. Well, I believe you should follow your own creed when you do your job.
Yeah, and if there's ever someone your precious truth can't catch, feel free to sit around and cry about it all you want. But as for me, I'm gonna get that person no matter what.
All right. It's about time for the trial to start. I will see you later.
I'll be watching a performance from the gallery. I'm looking forward to this. I prepared a whole ton of ticker tape for today's victory, sir.
I'll help throw some around when Mr. Edgeworth wins. See, I told you, Gumshoe is the guy who throws that.
Hope you've got enough, because I'm gonna go call my men up as well.
A modest amount of ticker tape goes a long way. The scene shifts to the courtroom, and the final act of this long tale begins. The legend of the great thief Yatagarasu. It's the story of those who chose to dedicate their lives to the pursuit of the truth. Prosecutors are those who seek a guilty verdict for the defendants they meet, and to that end, you have no choice but to win by any means necessary. That creed was forced on me since I was very young. However, I no longer think that is all we prosecutors are, and that is because... Even though I've only been away from the courtroom for a short time, I feel as though it's been a lifetime since I've set foot in one. And today, more than any other day, I feel the fight within me rising. Yeah, there we go. I remember that. I am really in Mr. Edgeworth's debt for the other day. Thanks to him, I'm still free to serve in the friendly blue skies. Oh, so about my suitcases? I've been selling them on the internet, and they've become a real sensation. Thanks to the praise the art world has lavished on my work as being truly postmodern. The airline has chosen me to design their new line of Go You jumbo jets. Just think, someday you'll be able to take a ride in my pink-walled, yellow-seated jet. That's horrifying. Actually horrifying.
Edgeworth! That rudeness of a rude man! Because of him, my time and money is wasted. But more importantly, I received the most fantastic treasure recently, the Primidu statue of the Principality of Cadopia. It weighs a bit light in my hand, but the ambassador Polino, he was most generous.
So Polino sold him the fake one? I love it. We finally caught Agent Hicks's killer, and I was able to witness Mr. Alba's teary eyes. It feels good to finally bring everything to a close. I received another offer from Interpol to work another case in cooperation with them. However, the Codopian courts await. Cadopia's air is supposed to be very fresh, so my whip should find new vigor there. This little patrolman has been fired as of today, sir. I thought I was safe since we found the gun I had dropped. But I hadn't noticed that I had dropped my police badge, too! I guess what I really broke the camel's back was I couldn't find my badge. My little life has suddenly tripped into a dark black hole, sir! I think I'll go to the courthouse and file a complaint with Ruffles Man! He calls Edgeworth Ruffles Man? Amazing. Does he have ridges? I was actually hoping to talk with Mr. Edgeworth a bit more than I did. But I've got to get going and return to Europe. I still got a long way to go and a lot of stuff to study there. Next time I help Mr. Edgeworth on a case, I'm going to do it as a real forensic scientist. I'm sure he's going to need all the help I can give him, scientifically. Hey, that actually happens. Because the kidnapping was staged, I was let off easy. But I won't be going outside much anytime soon, but that's really okay. The only prison I'm forever trapped in is the cage of love. The guard down at the detention center. Well, when he's on guard duty, he has such a cold look in his eyes, just like that prosecutor. But stop it, Lauren. When will you ever learn to stop being a prisoner of love?
It appears there are all sorts of drama that takes place outside of the courtroom. Since we judges are here day in and day out, I've only heard a few rumors, but apparently Mr. Edgeworth teamed up with a thief and became a detective. Maybe I should team up with a bailiff and try to become a lawyer or something.
To me, judges are lawyers. I mean, maybe this judge isn't, you know? They should meet Larry. Yeah, Larry and her should get together for sure. Don't let your dreams be dreams, Judge. Yeah, right. Whew, I barely escaped death yet again.
Yeah, but boy, were we lucky to have Mr. Edgeworth help us out, huh?
Yeah, but because I lost the key, I got fired from my security guard job.
Don't let it get you down, Maggie. You still got me.
You're right, sir. I won't be sad. I'm gonna pick myself up and get through this. I wonder what my next job should be. Oh, this is actually kind of fun. Well, this is after Trevian, so hard to say. Why not come to Canopia for your summer vacation? We have coupons aplenty. Right now, our embassy is proud to present our Let's Investigate a Murder show. Although, recreating that particular case has created a few small fires of its own. Then we had a few problems with the fire marshals, but the next event will be great. It will be an attraction entitled Capture the Yatagarasu. Of course, I hope to enlist Kay's help in creating our latest attraction. Don't let the dreams be dreams for the judge. I'd like to see the judge be teaming up with a bailiff.
I can't believe that Mindy ditched me and went to Japan. But it's okay. Because that's how I met Miharu. We're planning to go to Paris soon and start a business. We're gonna sell Blue Ocean dogs. They'll sell like hotcake hot dogs for sure. A blue hot dog and a blue bun. I guarantee it'll turn your tongue and your face blue. I know I'm not really the type to work a lot, or at all really, but... So I noticed that I haven't really seen the guy in the blue suit at all recently. Wonder what's up. Well, the next time we meet, I'm gonna make him eat one of my dogs.
Well, no, the next time you meet, you're gonna be an artist again. Yeah, Polano was like a big red herring, wasn't he?
I gave testimony in court today as a member of the Yatagarasu. Yo, Mr. Bad, you look well, all things considered. By the way, have you noticed that elements within the ring have begun moving? They're probably fighting over who should succeed, over who should be the next boss. Although, to be honest, I wish I could forget I'd ever heard of that smuggling ring. Longzi says, thoroughly bite the poisonous snake from head to tail. No one runs afoul of the law and escapes this wolf's fangs. I'll get you all yet. Youth. When did I become so old, I wonder? I began noticing the gray hairs in my beard more. I'm thinking of retiring my mirror.
Oh, is it going to be Old Bag next? Yep. I was the Pink Princess and the Pink Badger all in the span of 2 days. Talk about busy. But it's alright, because I got a letter from my beloved Edgy Poo. Please take care of your hip, and when you wish to speak, first take off your headpiece. What does he mean by that last statement? Not like I enjoy being under a headpiece every time I see him. Been an alien, then some creepy fuzzy pink animal. Then I was the Pink Princess, a great hero of justice. But ever since I was a noble maid, shaded out of tat for the my own costume or something. Even that sounds like a terrible idea. March 17th, 4:33 p.m., High Prosecutor's Offices, room 1202.
Ooh, I feel so much better now that the trial's over. And as always, your legal prowess was top-notch, sir.
Yeah, nothing beat the look on Mr. Alba's face when you revealed the ring's secrets. I was amazed. You're like a totally different person when you step into a courtroom.
Mr. Edgeworth is always 10 times fiercer in court.
Based on the information Mr. Alba offered up, they've begun large-scale operations to clean up the rest of the ring, which I'm happy to leave to Francisca and Agent Long.
So what are your plans now, Kay?
Oh, well, we've taken care of the creep who killed my father, so I'm not sure. Hey, I know. Maybe I'll just keep on being Mr. Edgeworth's assistant.
Are you still trying to steal my job, pal?
Just kidding, just kidding. I can't steal something so important to you, Gummy.
Oh, what a relief.
Okay. Yes? Even after all that's happened, are you still planning to become a great thief? Of course! But I don't want to tarnish the legend of the noble Yatagarasu. So I'm gonna hold off on doing anything until I make a tight 3-person team of my own.
The 3-person team?
A 3-person team of young beauties the same age as me, if possible. With those criteria, I highly doubt you'll find the 2 other people you need. My father chose to fight for the truth. I think that's what was so noble about him. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, the only things I will ever steal are the truths that have been hidden away. I'm gonna work extra hard to make a world where the Yatagarasu isn't needed. Let's both strive for such a future. Well, I guess it's time for me to get going. I see.
Kay, keep your chin up and stay strong, okay? And don't be a stranger.
Don't worry, I'll be back. I'll be sure to break the lock on the window and sneak in. If you could, I'd appreciate it if you came in through the building's front door.
It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. The lock on my window at home has been broken for forever.
Oh, one last thing before I go. Let's take a group picture, just the 3 of us.
Yeah, a commemorative photo. Every big case has to end with one.
No. Hey, why not?
Don't tell me you're camera shy, Mr. Edgeworth.
Oh, of course not, Detective. Come on, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm taking the picture now. Hey, come back here!
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't run away from this, sir!
No, hey, Detective Gumshoe! Stop that, I can't be seen doing that! Okay, I'm totally taking it now. Say cheese! And thus, the long tale of the KG-8 incident came to a close. It saw the demise of a smuggling ring and the birth of a little great thief. But there is little time to rest and relax. For I am eager to tackle the investigation into a new case. The reason for my eagerness is I want to pursue the truth, and I want to believe in the strength of those who use the power of the law for good. As someone who has chosen to live my life as a prosecutor, that is my new creed. Nice. Yeah, okay. There we go. That's it. We're done. We have finished Investigations 1 completely. Now we just got to do Investigations 2, which starts in the timeline, like, I think just a few days later from this game finishing. So, yeah, we will do that next time at the usual time on Saturday. So, see you then. GG indeed. GG.